It's hard to look cool, too. My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Jakey Boy and I are going to break down the entire UFC 302 fight card. We're going to give you our picks, our predictions, our bets, and our DraftKings plays. One of it is going to be doing it dressed like a regular person. Another one is going to be doing it like Dwarf Goes to Brazil. Remember those movies?
Dwarf Goes to Brazil? There's a movie.
Well, I added the goes to Brazil part, but Dwarf does golf. Dwarf goes fishing.
I don't know.
And he would wear the bucket caps.
Ernest Scared Stupid. I know it like the Ernest. I've never heard of the dwarf.
Really?
No.
Oh, those were a thing. Well, I have a special. I've got a special treat for everybody here, and actually Jacob does. Jacob put together the sickest cold open for UFC 302, far better than what the UFC is going to put together. Let's spend 48 seconds and watch this clip.
Before there were reasons to fight I could understand, but I don't understand this. Even if you win, what have you won? Apollo's still gone. Why can't you change your thinking? Everybody else does.
Because I'm a fighter. That's the way I'm made, Adrian. That's what you married. We can't change what we are. We can't change anything, Adrian. All we can do is just go with what we are.
You can't go with what you are. Have you read the papers? Do you know what everybody says? It's suicide! You've seen him, you know how strong he is. You can't win!
He's gonna have to kill me. When he kill me, he's gonna have to have the heart to stand in front of me. Do that. He's got to be willing to die himself. I don't know if he's ready to do that.
That's a cold-ass line. He's got
to
die himself. I don't know if he's willing to do that. That's Dustin, baby. That's the diamond. Shine
Listen.
bright like a diamond. That's what it's going to lead into with Lock of the... Oh.
This fucking guy. Well, anyway, that was Jacob's. that was Jacob's
like a diamond.
Cold open for UFC 302, and I am hyped to break down this card because, week offs are always great and awful at the same time. What I do love after week off is coming back to a big time pay per view, and this is a big time pay per view. This is way better than UFC 301. Great co-main event. I'm real pumped for this co-main event, and obviously, I think it's going to be a one-sided main event, but there's going to be a lot of excitement leading up to that result. But before we break down this card, let's touch on a few things. First, let's touch on the pay-per-view boys. We do spell boys with a Z. It's BYOZ, and because we're cool, we wear sunglasses inside. We wear sunglasses inside.
These are new too. Do you like these?
I saw the bucket cap, and then nothing else. My eyes went to nothing else. Honestly, that's better.
You think so, huh? But these are new, though. You know where I got these? Or why I got these?
Gas station?
No. These were...
it pulled your eyebrows off.
I think it was a TikTok, man. I think I saw them on TikTok.
Dude, I've bought
Amazon, too.
I've bought stuff on TikTok Shop. It's actually awesome.
It's just one click with Apple Pay? Because I love that shit.
It's one click with Apple Pay. That's exactly it.
That's dangerous. Because I got hold on. Keep talking.
Well, he does that. What I got on the TikTok Shop, and listen, I already know there's a narrative that I'm fat, so get over it. I got the Mama V's Sour Gushers. That was the best $13 I ever spent. That stuff was unbelievably sour and very delicious. I'm done. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, speaking of how easy it is, just one click with Apple Pay, Tabitha Ricci, like last week or something, was like, my shirts are for sale, and the first 3 people get an autographed version or whatever. So I was like, click, 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 Apple Pay, boom. And I got a Jawsome Tabitha Ricci shirt that is, where's it signed at? There it is, signed right there. Baby Shark, Tabitha Ricci. So we got it locked in. It says Jawsome right there. It's her little fight shirt versus Tisha Torres that she absolutely fucking dominated. We're excited about that. And honestly, We might do a giveaway with this. If you're interested in a Ricci shirt, let me know in the comments or in the chat right now.
I still have all that UFC 300 mystery box crap I'm not trying to keep. So we can do a bunch of giveaways for premium members. And speaking of premium members, if you're a premium member and you've been with us for the pay-per-views in 2024, you've been eating good. You could go to the Sizzler and order the big steak because we put up some units. We're up 7.29 units this year on only pay-per-views, 12% ROI on only pay-per-views, safety parlay 5-2. And you're going to say, well, there wasn't 7 pay-per-views. And I'm going to tell you, some of these pay-per-views, I give you more than one safety parlay, and they have been hitting for the pay-per-views. That safety parlay, a little closer look at the pay-per-view, 10-2 in the last 8 pay-per-views, 6 units of net profit, almost 70% event win rate, 25% lifetime ROI. That is a premium member thing. You can unlock it now at WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. The website just got we're almost done with the complete overhaul, but the picks, the bets are easier than ever to get to now. You're also going to get tools like the line movement tracker. This isn't some weirdo's Patreon. This isn't like, please click the link and sign up for the Patreon, and I'm going to list 12 bets for you. When you get the Patreon stuff, you get 2 extremes. You either get like, here's 4 bets because I'm a conservative guy, and that's actually the camp that I'm in. And then you're going to get, here's 190 bets. Not this. You're getting our actual bets. You're getting our picks. You're getting our breakdowns. You're getting the insight. You're also getting tools. The line movement tracker is going to give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every fighter on every card. You're going to get the detailed data, metrics, and analytics. 38 columns of information that you can use. Angelo, how do you keep hitting these prize picks? Well, I have the data right smack in front of me that I can use to attack those lines. What do you got here?
Just some quick math here, and I went over my quick pick video, but you're going to see on the first tier, we have a pay-per-view. On the 29th, we have a pay-per-view. If you sign up, let's say today or tomorrow, whatever it is, that's this week, right? You're going to get this one, right, Angela? You're going to get that one.
Yep.
Next week, that's 7 days. You're going to get this next one, right? That's on the 8th. Okay. 14 days the next week, you're going to get this one. That's on the 15th. The next one, that's 21, right? You're going to get this one. That's 4. Right there, which is $2.50 a card. But also, if you sign up a lot of times, because it's going to cancel, right, midweek, or you can cancel it midweek, right, for the
if you sign up right now, it'll cancel the Friday before UFC 303.
Right, but a lot of times, we put those bets in early in the week. So really, you're getting 1, you're getting 2, you're getting 3, you're getting 4. And you're getting 5. That's 2 pay-per-views if you sign up this week. There's no doubt about that.
It is funny. It is a pay-per-view sandwich. You sign up today, you're going to get everything you need for 302 and up to 303. That's the tools, the picks, the bets, the round line leans. You're going to get the best DraftKings ownership projections on planet Earth. Here's the numbers from last week. You can see our margin of error absolutely dwarfs the giant, the Awesomos, the Roto Grinders, all the huge DFS companies. We absolutely smoke them. And those ownership projections will be preloaded into our DraftKings optimizer, ready for you to use, ready to be building lineups. Every single thing I just mentioned and more analysts are included in that very low price of $10 a month. You're going to get Artem not only giving you UFC picks, but he's breaking down the PFLs, the Bellators of the world, and the artificial intelligence. The AI has been crushing it. It's been picking at a much higher percentage than human beings, and it's doing so based solely off of historical data. All of this, a bunch of other things that I can't get to because people start to complain. Only $10 for an entire month, and as the Rain Man math over here just showed you, that's 5 events for $10. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. I mean, I don't even know what we're waiting for here, Jakey boy.
Seems easy to me.
We do have a couple of super Chatterutskis, and by a couple, I mean 1. Unwell to brrr, $1.99. Ugh, I missed you guys. Is that like almost cry eyes? What do you do? Okay. Well, there's a G. How do you describe this emoji? That's like I'm welled up, right? Welled up eyes. I'm about to cry, but I'm not crying.
Yeah, I missed you guys.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. Costa lock.
I would love that.
Brother.
I have no bet on that fight.
My Brazilian brother.
And
I think that's something we need to address right now is how I'm dressed. You mentioned it to start the stream, right? This is a beautiful one. Look at the back, too. Look at the back, too. This is, if you guys don't know, I am learning Portuguese, and this is my new identity. I am a Brazilian man to my core at this point. I've learned so much Portuguese. A Brazilian homem, if you will. I think homem, something like that. But, I'd like to just kind of show off my Portuguese right now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'd love nothing more.
Boa noite, first of all, Angela, boa noite. Eu tenho uma batata. Eu corto a batata. Você cozinha a batata. Você frita a batata.
Are you talking about potatoes?
Excuse me. Você frita a batata. Não. Você come batata. Você não bebe batata. Muito bom, batata. Eu bebo água. Você bebe leite.
Okay, it's getting...
Ciao.
We
Boa
pushed
noite.
it. We pushed it.
No, that was it. Ciao. Boa noite. Say boa noite.
Are we going to get an interpretation, or that was it?
I said, good evening. I have a potato. I cut the potato. You cook the potato. You fry the potato. Me and you eat the potato. You do not drink the potato. Very good potato. I drink water.
Okay,
You drink
yeah,
milk.
this is-
Bye and good evening.
That's what you pay all that money for the language app?
This is
and
I'm
it's just
I'm 13, 14 days, and I just that's a full conversation.
and never once will the potato famine become a topic that matters in Portuguese. You're trying to talk to
Potatoes are
these
big.
women.
I know for a fact that the mashed potatoes in Brazil are, and someone in the chat let me know. And
You might have it
this.
on the Ireland setting.
No. Oh, no.
It's Conor McGregor coming up and just teach you about potatoes. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go.
Like the stream if you haven't already.
We're feeling the love in the chat here.
this is my
Thank you
identity
guys. What an outfit.
And I say that because if I just start slipping into Portuguese, Angela, please let me know. I don't want to get confusing.
Yeah, all right. Cool. First up, at UFC 302, we have short notice Mitch Raposo taking on Andre Lima. Andre Lima has had 2 short notice opponents. This is his 3rd short notice opponent. Finally, a name that we can pronounce, but not an easy fight. We got Mitch Raposo, 4-1 in his last 5, only 9-1 in his career. He is riding a nice 4-fight win streak into a short notice UFC debut, taking on the undefeated 8-0 Andre Lima, who does have 7 career stoppages. Mitch is a man of my own heart. He's a New England man, a Northeast guy, fighting in all those promotions that I frequented before I moved here to the unbelievably hot Texas. And he trains out of the New England cartel.
Day today, though.
Yeah, I've been up since 4 because of those freaking storms.
That was a rough night. A lot of damage, too. Big old tree at the gym got knocked over, but like split in half.
Half the trees at Kroger are knocked down, and then not my fence, thankfully, but the house behind me, theirs is completely caved in on the side. So
Neighbor stories.
Sucks for them. I don't know them, so. And we had what's that? The Sandlot moment there. I think the dog is scary. I can't tell, but we were playing Can Jam and the Frisbee went over there, and I was like, well, I don't know these people. I'm not ringing the bell.
Great movie.
Yeah. Anyway, we got Mitch. He's a New England guy. He's part of that New England cartel gym. That's the Calvin Kattar's or Cater. Calvin Kattar. He's the Rob Font gym, and everybody in that gym. Connor Matthews. Everybody in that gym basically fights the same, right? Phenomenal hands, great, tight, clean boxing, and not the best takedown defense. The takedowns can be, you're making this stupid face, not the best takedown defense. The striking is clean. The offensive wrestling is not terrible, but the wrestling defense does have some holes. Mitch is definitely a prospect in the Northeast. He's one of the better flyweights in the entire region there. And the Northeast is a good fight region. There's enough promotions there to keep people busy. There's enough competition to keep people busy. Plenty of gyms like that. That's a nice little hotbed of actual MMA talent. He's only 25 years old, but he has been training since he was in middle school. And then to top all of that off, this is now his 3rd official crack at the UFC. He lost on the Contender Series, short notice step up against Jake Hadley, and he did lose in the Ultimate Fighter to just a dominant wrestler. This is his 3rd shot, and it is another short notice shot for him. He's taking on Andre Lima. This guy's a solid striker. He will invest in the body. He's got good technique. He uses it well. He has won multiple, I think, Muay Thai. It might be kickboxing, but I think it's Muay Thai titles. He'll throw up combinations really well. He's not lazy with anything. He'll mix up his strikes. He is essentially a pure striker. I understand he has grappling skills, but he doesn't use them. He keeps the fight standing, and then he just wants to light you up, and he has had success doing that. He does have 2 takedowns in the UFC, though, but that's not typically his plan. He usually wants to keep it standing and then use those many, many years of striking technique. He is coming off that win over Igor Severino, which is a little, it's controversial, because every time I say that I think Igor was winning that fight, people jump down my throat and act like I'm crazy. Another judge saw it that way. It's not like I was the only person that saw the fight that way. But you're going to see it's a win, a DQ. Basically, he got bit. And then that's how he won the fight. This is another short notice step up. What is that? Oh, that's you were there. That's your table.
Oh, I was there.
Yeah. Did it look like Igor was winning?
It looked like Igor was winning. And
See?
I was yelling at Chris Tyone. Fucking Chris Tylonely. Get control of the fight, Chris!
Well, he lost control because Hannibal Lecter showed up and took a bite out of that dude's arm. This actually should be a good fight. Mitch is very good. Mitch is a very good fighter. Him being a 2-1 dog does make sense. It's short notice. And if you zoom out and just look at what he's done, it's like, all right, he beat the piss out of some regional guys, but his 2 opportunities in the UFC, they didn't go his way. But the reality is he's very talented. He's got good striking, good power. His defensive wrestling does need a little bit of work. That's how he got beat on the Ultimate Fighter, but I don't think it's going to matter here. I think this is going to be a striking match. I do think the short notice matters. If we had a full camp Mitch, I actually would probably lean him, and this certainly would be a much easier, tighter line. But Mitch is a short notice step up after a couple of failed attempts. Let's put it this way. Started in the Ultimate Fighter house, right? Pretty small, self-contained environment. Then the opportunity on the Contender Series. And I might have those 2 backwards. Either way.
No, I think it was. I think you're right.
Okay. Then the opportunity in the Contender Series. It's a step up from the
Versus
Ultimate.
who?
Yeah, Jake Hadley. Then on short notice. I have it in my notes. It's in my notes. Oh yeah. Jake Hadley was good. Correct.
Yeah,
good loss.
And
his loss
doing pretty well in the first round.
And the loss in the Ultimate Fighter house was to a nonstop wrestler, and sometimes you're just not going to be able to.
Up in weight.
Correct. And sometimes you're just not going to be able to do anything about that. But where I'm going with this is small contained environment on the Ultimate Fighter. Then a somewhat small contained environment on the Contender Series. And now a short notice step up to a massive pay-per-view close to home. Close to home is a problem. Because, and if there are fighters, there was a fighter earlier in the chat. If you're still here, chime in. You know how it goes. Can I get a ticket? What's the closing time? What time do I start? What time should I be there? If he was on the other side of the country and half his family can't come out and friends can't come out, he actually is better off. He can focus. But being in New Jersey, just a couple-hour car ride away, every single human being in Massachusetts that has ever bumped into him in the grocery store is texting, calling, hitting him up, Facebook tags, nonstop. It's a lot. All at once, huge stage. I think the short notice is a problem for him. He's very good, but short notice is why I'm picking him against him. That was a long breakdown.
I like Andre Lima. He's definitely good. Yeah, I don't want to take anything away from my Brazilian brother here. He is a very good fighter. He can definitely get taken down, and you saw that in that Igor fight. I think that's why we both think that Igor was kind of controlling that fight, because he was kind of getting the takedowns whatever he want. Lima definitely showed improvements in the grappling. Was very, very dangerous off his back. I mean, immediately trying to throw stuff up, scramble back to his feet. So he is going to be dangerous in those positions if Mitch tries to go to the wrestling. Striking very sharp as well. I have nothing really bad to say against Andre Lima. Win or lose in this fight, he's going to be a guy that's going to hang around in this division. He is just a very well-rounded guy. I like this guy, Mitch, huh?
Oh, is this a dramatic pause? Yeah. Where are we going?
I like this guy, Mitch. I tell you that. And I do worry about the short notice, right? Because this could turn into a very high-paced fight. But when I watch this guy, Mitch, he has wrestling, good offensive wrestling. Good offensive wrestling. He can't get taken down by bigger guys. I don't think Lima's going to be able to take this guy down. I've seen him sprawl out of situations before from better wrestlers than Lima. I think he's going to be okay in there. And if he wants to use his wrestling, he can use his wrestling. But also, this dude's got very sharp striking as well. When I watch him strike, when I was watching him, and I actually sent a message to this gentleman I'm about to reference as well, I asked this guy, have you ever trained with this guy? Because they look like carbon copies of each other with the way they switch stances, the way they bounce in and out, the way they have a very high, tight guard, and the way they throw body shots and everything. His striking and boxing, to me, looks exactly to a T like Adrian Yanez. And I texted Adrian, I'm like, have you ever trained with this guy? Because you guys are carbon copies. He's like, no, I just know him from social media. I've never done anything with him. But I'm like, holy cow, this guy's boxing is so crisp. And what I love the most, he's poised. He understands spacing very well. It seems like he has very good vision, defensive striking, in and out, and his understanding now, being with a good gym. And I know a lot of people kind of shit on the cartel lately because they've had their struggles or whatever, but it's much better than being with Joe Schmo at some gym down the street, right? These are actual UFC fighters he is training with, the Rob Fonts and all these guys. It is a good gym. He's been there for a while, and you can see he's starting to come into his own. That last fight he had, that championship fight, whatever it was, he could have used his wrestling, but he was having so much success with the striking, he just kept it striking. I watched another fight where he got an easy takedown, so he kept with the takedowns. I like this guy's well-rounded game. I like his mentality. He said, you know what, I've called for my shot. I've wanted to go to the UFC. I'm just going to wait until it happens. I want to be in the UFC. He has this opportunity now in front of the home fans. I do worry about a few things. The short notice, obviously, I already mentioned that. The other thing I worry about, too, is he can get a little overhand right happy, right? I mean, he has a really nice, precise overhand right that he sneaks in there, and he's hurt a lot of people with it, but he can kind of get over-aggressive, kind of spamming that. And when you're short notice and you're just spamming those, that's how you can really gas and really be in a bad situation. Lima, to me, is going to be definitely dangerous early, but as the fight goes on, I've seen Mitch in 5-round fights. I've seen him go into the 4th round and get a finish in the 4th round. I like this guy. If this was not short notice, I would really like this guy. Obviously, there's a little bit concerned with the short notice, but he is well-rounded, man. I think that he can strike with Lima, go back and forth with them until, towards the end of the rounds, sneak in a takedown, steal those rounds. I think they're going to have a good game plan. He seems like a smart kid. He's been waiting for this opportunity. He finally has it, and I think he's going to show up and show out, and I got to pick against my Brazilian brother here. I'm going my man, Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, my Brazilian brother. Listen, you heard my breakdown. I think Mitch is very good, and he absolutely can win this fight. I just, short notice,
Big step in competition, too. People are saying that in chat. I understand he hasn't really fought anybody, but nobody's really fought anybody in the regionals. That's just the way the regionals are,
Neither has Andre.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is, So it's definitely a step up, and these are probably the best people that either one of them have faced, and I think Mitch is going to be dialed in. His striking is slick.
I'm not even that concerned. I keep saying short notice, and obviously I do think short notice matters, but I believe he had a fight coming up, not this weekend, but he was in the gym, that kind of guy.
And he knew, and he's with the team that knew that he was going to get that call, right? I mean, he knew that eventually he's going to get that call. He's waiting for that call, especially for this card. I'm sure he was hoping that a fight dropped, so I think he's going to be more than ready.
My concern is more the stage. It's a massive stage. Stage.
He's a confident dude, man.
Drivable.
If you listen to this guy talk, he is a confident dude. What I love too, honestly, is that he is confident, but also he isn't an undefeated confident. Because those type of guys can come in and be like, "Oh, I'm the man.
They don't
I'm the
know what it's
hometown
like."
kid."
Yeah.
He's already lost a couple times. He's missed this opportunity a couple times, so he's going to be dialed in. He's going to be locked in. I like him.
Yep. No, it should be a good fight. I'm looking forward to it. No DraftKings pricing yet, as this is a newer fight on the card, but I am going to watch this line. It shot up, right? Plus 145 to plus 200. I'm curious to see if it rebounds, if it continues to widen. Maybe a plus 3.5 or inside the distance decision, no action, something like that. But I'm going to just watch the line, see what it does, see where it goes. If you also want to watch the line, we have a tool for that. It's called a line movement tracker. It'll give you the opening odds, the current odds, and the win probability for every fighter on every card. And that's just one of the many tools included in premium membership. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's $10 a month. You're going to get every tool, pick, bet, round line, lean, every single thing that we do for an entire month. And the way the timing is working out, you will get all the way up to UFC 303 if you sign up today. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. Couple of super chats. I might need your young guy skills to interpret a little bit.
Okay.
$4.99.
Y'all should do a PM challenge or something. Whoever picks right, like a 12 out of 12 parlay, gets to watch the next pay-per-view event with y'all. Nope.
What's a P? Yeah, correct. What's a PM? Pick.
Know what it is.
I don't.
I would consider myself a PM.
Pussy magnet?
Whoa, hey. Lips to God's ears.
And then right back down. Listen, the reality is I watch these fights at home where my children sleep. So inviting other people into my home is not really going to happen. But we will certainly, first of all, actually, what am I doing here? We'll give you $100 if you pick the card correct on our website at wewantpicks.com. For now, oh, did we kill it? Hold on, let me check. No, we still have the perfect card contest up. $100 if you pick it correct. Right now, it's open to anybody. Eventually, it'll flip to just premium members. Then another $1.99 on Well2 Brrr. I'm a super fan. What's ATP? It's
What?
Like ATM, but the P is south. Come on, we're vibing. We're friends. You okay? You did get it. All right, you did get it. Okay. Anyway, super fan. Thank you, Angelo. Give me a brrr. And then he sent another one to clarify. PM is premium member. I should.
ATP is at this point.
At this point, I thought it was.
Say
I'm a
it.
super fan of this. Well, I can't. I already said the magnet one. Well, we appreciate you genuinely very, very much.
Haven't already.
Listen, it looks like Mike Tyson might not end up fighting.
Oh, he says he's good to go.
All right, well, good because
I'm good to go. I don't even need to be 100% to beat Jake Paul. It's like, well, go ahead.
You kind of do. You needed to be 100% 10 years ago.
You're 60 years old, Mike.
What I was hoping to do at that event, and it's just not plausible, was going to do some sort of premium member, or not even premium, just like meet and greet kind of thing. But the pricing for that event was just not. It was just out of the realm of reality. $4,000. Like this is a joke. It's more expensive than the Conor fight.
Oh, you're not going?
I'm going to buy tickets, but I'm not going to buy a suite and invite 30 random people. You know what I'm waiting for? Last time Jake Paul fought, remember we were going to.
The Conor fight was only like $120,000.
That's it. Do you have 120 friends that we could just all split it $1,000? Thank you. Oh, look at this.
I've got
the chat is turning. Thank you.
I've got like 300 friends in here right now, right, guys?
You know what's funny? Tiff said I was losing weight too, and I was losing weight, and then I just kind of stopped. You know, it's the tan. We've been outside a lot.
I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if everyone's seen my progress pictures, but we're dying.
Oh, here we go. Here's a thirst trap. Everybody's ready for the thirst trap. You guys, the video will be chaptered if you want to skip past the enticing pictures.
We cut down. We got lean, and now this is the first week of putting weight back on, and that's the real deal there.
Okay, put your Snapchat on there, and the pants disappear.
Onlyfans.com/thefreckled salamander if you want to see more.
On Well2 Brrr, $1.99. I would love to watch a fight with y'all live. We'll figure something out someday, do a meet and greet, or Jacob and I are going to be in Vegas for 303. If you guys will be there, come say hello. I'll buy you a drink. Not all 3,000 of you, just a couple. Let's move on. We clip these videos into individual pieces. I can't start the next breakdown with your thirst trap picture right there.
Wait, who's the next breakdown? I think you could.
Oh, I think we can. Yeah, those pants are going to go.
Ailin.
Another $1.99. My next fight in San Jose, California. You're a fighter? Send us your information if you're a fighter and where you're fighting. We're not going to go out to San Jose. June 29th, we're going to be in Vegas for Conor. But maybe, I don't know. Send us your information. I don't want to say anything out loud, but send us some information. Next up, at UFC 302, we have Ailin Perez taking on Joselyne Edwards. Ailin Perez, 9-2 overall, 4-1 in her last 5. She is riding a nice 2-fight Nurmagomedov win streak. She's taking on Joselyne Edwards, 13-5 in her career, 3-2 in her last 5, coming off of the controversial loss to Nora Cornale. This is an interesting fight that has a lot of people saying a lot of crazy things. I'm hearing a whole bunch of Ailin Perez is going to maul her. Ailin Perez should be a 10-1 favorite. Ailin Perez should be a parlay piece. And if you only saw the Ashley Evans-Smith fight, I can understand. Because in the Ashley Evans-Smith fight, Ailin Perez was under Magomedov. She got like 19 takedowns or something absurd. Plenty of cardio. She didn't slow down at all in that third round. Just kept wrestling, kept shooting, kept working. She looked fantastic. But that was sort of a one-off, if you will. Now, her takedowns these last couple of fights have looked good. She's put together... What did she do? I don't have the overall stats. She's put together quite the little wrestling resume for her in her last couple of fights. The reality is her striking is not very good. And she is just diving at legs, but she's persistent. You can trust the come forward energy. You can trust her to shoot. You can trust her to wrestle. And you can trust her to twerk before and or after the fight. She is coming off of the win over Lucy Pudilova, where she had 2 takedowns and almost 9 minutes of control. And that's what a lot of people are thinking to happen in this fight, because Joselyne Edwards does get taken down. She's got more than one fight where she's been taken down several times, and that's why she lost those fights. But Joselyne Edwards is improving. If you look at her last fight against Nora Cornole, her offensive and defensive wrestling both look very good. Joselyne Edwards is a good striker as well. She's a very good kickboxer who uses range really well. Nice variety of strikes. She will kick more than she punches, but she uses that to keep you at bay. I think she won her last fight. I think that was a bad decision. But Joselyne Edwards is the exact type of person to make a fight sloppier than it should be, make a fight a little messy, stand up when she should stand up, avoid a couple of takedowns, land some decent strikes, and all of a sudden, Joselyne Edwards either wins the fight or steals a round. I think the opening odds were way too wide. They're definitely tightening. I don't think they're tight enough. I am going to pick Ailin Perez because I do ultimately think the nonstop forward pressure wrestling is going to be the difference. But this has 29-28 or split decision written all over it. I do not understand the 100% wildly confident Ailin Perez is my parlay piece. I don't understand. The over 2.5 is basically a guarantee, though. What do you think, Jakey Bumbalotes?
Yeah, do you know how many times I've had multiple monies on Ailin Perez, and I slide my mouse over to the place bet, and then I just start shaking, and I start freezing up,
and then your hand goes.
I just
back to the mouse.
What's your deal?
Type in only. Go ahead, continue.
I don't know what. Are you backed up or something? Like, what's going on?
It's been a week, man. It's been a week. I'm tired. I've been up since 4.
I mean, that should be 5-6 times a day you're cleaning pipes. Got to clear that head,
the kids are home from school. I can't. School's out, man. Everything changes when school's out. I don't get to go on my long walks. Nothing.
I mean, you could, if you do it right, you could do it on a walk.
I'm just army crawling for the friction. Okay, go ahead.
Now say that again. Now go ahead and say that again. You're doing what now to do what? You're talking about dragging on the sidewalk. Right. That's how you do it, huh? That was your first thought? I'm just talking about you got your hand in your pocket and you're just like, well, you're
the
really
other one's
getting down
giving a
and
high
dirty,
five.
huh?
All right, come on.
Finding a nice looking fire hydrant and just going to town, huh? Jesus Christ. I'm supposed to be that guy, and here you are.
That's 4 o'clock in the morning, man.
2 fights in a row. Almost 3
in a row.
I almost have placed so many bets on Ailin Perez. It is crazy because the path to victory should be so obvious. She can get takedowns. Joselyne can get takedowns. So everyone that's betting Ailin, everyone that's parlayed Ailin, honestly, I get it. But I can't do it. And I'll tell you why. This is a very, very emotional fight for these two females. If you guys did not know, Joselyne, they had a little issue at the PI before Ailin's last fight. They got into it. Joselyne gave her a black eye, almost canceled her fight because the eye was so bad. She ended up fighting. Her eye got blown up. She won her fight, but they have beef. This fight was made because of their beef situation that happened at the Apex PI. And if there is anything I know about women, and I know the most about women, is that sometimes they get emotional, and when they get emotional, sometimes they act fucking insane. There's no doubt about that. And Ailin Perez, in my mind, is going to want nothing more, right? Because she is a Angela, she's a fiery Latina. I mean, she was already, you could tell.
Are Brazilians Latina?
She's not Brazilian. She's
that's
Argentinian.
right. That's right. Yeah.
She was already a fiery Latina. There's no doubt about that. She is going to come into this fight in the first round, and she is going to want to finish Joselyne as fast as she fucking can. And how many times have we sat here watching fights and watched these, especially females, the younger females against the savvy veterans, kind of blow their load, look good in the first round, and all of a sudden they got nothing for these veterans in the second and the third rounds, and these veterans start taking over that fight. And that's the only thing I can think of when I'm about to place a bet on Ailin. And says she's going to come in, she's going to get the takedown, she's going to go all in for the finish. She's not really a finisher. Right? I mean, she can get a finish, but she's not really finished. You saw her with the ground and pound that one time. I mean, she was like on top of that girl, had her mounted against the fence, and she's like just rabbit punching her in the fucking face. Right? Not really a finisher. So I think that this could be a situation where she kind of blows her load in the first round. Joselyne takes over as a veteran in the second, in the third, reverses some positions. Right? We saw that do that against whatever her name is, the French girl in the last fight. I got to go Ailin, because the path to victory is so obvious, but I'm scared to death. I'm not going to bet her. I've almost bet her so many times. I just can't do it. Something tells me she's going to fuck this up, getting too emotional with it. She should win, but I'm not betting.
It's. I'm glad you and I have literally the exact same read then, I'm glad because instant gut reaction was, oh, 1 million takedowns. $8,700 in DraftKings is a bargain. She's going to score 10,000 points. And that's all burned into my head from the Ashley Evans-Smith fight. But even in her last fight, she started this, that was a one-time deal.
Ashley Evans-Smith was not, I mean, she
hadn't fought in 3 years.
She is not a UFC fighter. I mean, that was a fucking, those were the easiest takedowns you'll ever see in your life. And she didn't even finish her, did she?
And she was still sliding off the top, falling over because Ailin gets too excited and has no control.
Those Latinas, man, you should see them in the bedroom.
I've got a mean.
Here, I'll send you a video.
I have a mean Native American woman. I'm fine with that.
And by the way, too, I got to mention too, because a lot of talks about Ailin and the OnlyFans and all this stuff. Joselyne with braids, it's fucking hot. Joselyne, when she's got the braids, not the blue hair. She threw some braids in her last fight, and it's like, oh, how you doing, Joselyne? How you doing, Joselyne?
There was a video we discussed where you would buy all the OnlyFans and then review every single one of them. And I think you got halfway through it and passed out, and then we just never finished the video. It's just parched and
there you go again. That's
chafed. That is 4. Are you going to spend the $8,700 on Ailin, though? Because if she does win the way people think she's going to win, I mean, she's the best value on the card, honestly.
She could get one takedown, have 4 minutes of control, and then not get another takedown.
100% agree.
Score 30 points, even in a win.
No, I actually 100% agree with you. And it's brutal because I want this card. I got my safety parlay. I saw it. I instantly was like, I'm good with that. I threw up another parlay when the round line leans dropped. Instantly, I felt good about that. And then I've got like 2 other bets. Like now I'm like this does get tricky because of the Ailins. And there's a couple other favorites on this card that's like, I don't know. I don't trust the dog, but I don't trust the favorite either. But yeah, I'm probably going to avoid this fight or actually end up shooting my shot on Ailin. Joselyne Edwards will score no point. She's not worth the 7,500. She will not score well. Even if she wins, she will not score well. She won't finish, and she's not going to get any takedowns. And the only thing DraftKings cares about are finishes and wrestling. And neither one of those is going to happen on the Joselyne side.
The weird thing that's going to happen is Joselyne's going to get a mid third round finish or something.
Oh, it's going to
be that 2.5
Angela Hill.
Is going to be like, oh shit. Because Ailin's going to get tired and just turtle up or something. But Ailin seems like a tough girl. But yeah.
And
Angela Hill getting her first submission win ever.
Dude. And that was that broke the safety parlay.
Oh, I know.
The over 2.5 on an Angela Hill fight might be the biggest guarantee of any bet in history. And then as soon as I said safety parlay, it broke. This is not in the safety parlay, FYI, but I do have a parlay with the over 2.5 here, and I'll tell you the other side when we get to that fight. If you do want to unlock all the picks, the bets, the round line leans, and so much other crap that I can't even say it all in this video. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It is $10 a month. It is a full-blown interactive website with every tool, piece of information, and insight that you could ever need heading into a fight week, and you're going to get 5 events out of it, just given the way that this the timing is working on these events this month. Couple more super chats. Dude, unwell to brr. Oh, we already saw this one. Please hold. We saw this one. Please hold. This one's a new one. $4.99 from unwell to brr. I fought amateur in 2021. Tore my meniscus. My first fight back is June 2024. So this is an amateur fight. Send me an email with your information. You're a supporter of ours. We will figure out how to be a supporter of yours. Email us, and we'll figure something out. It's info@wewantpicks.com, or just go to the website and click contact us.
Put me in your corner, you're not going to fucking lose, tell you that.
Well, you'll be with me in Vegas.
Well, depends on how much he's paying, you know.
Next up, at UFC 302, we have Jersey's own. I think he's from Jersey. He might be from Pennsylvania. Jersey's own
Amish,
Mickey Gall. Not all of Pennsylvania is not. You know what's funny, real quick? So my wife is a Texan. She didn't didn't do a ton of traveling. And unless you're from the Northeast-ish, you don't really encounter too many Amish people or Hasidic Jews. Hasidic Jews look similar to Amish. They've got curls, like they look very, very similar, but one is Jewish, one is Amish. And she was driving from Texas to Connecticut. I met her in Connecticut. She was a traveling nurse. And she was driving through Amish country, Pennsylvania, and saw a couple of Hasidics. Actually, the way, so she, when
Great story so far.
Yeah, I should have told it this way. But so anyway, when she finally made it to Connecticut, whatever, she was like, I didn't know Amish can drive cars. I'm like, they can't. She was like, I saw a couple of them driving on the way here. I was like, those weren't Amish people. She's like, they had the curls. So it was just so funny to see that. We would.
A lot of the Amish these days are using power tools and stuff.
Are they really?
Oh yeah, there's definitely different levels.
I've never seen
Amish furniture is real. Amish furniture is fucking nice.
Well, anything made like that, real, yeah. Like we did field trips to Amish country. So they made all that tourism money. So it was just a bunch of kids asking stupid questions while they rode a horse.
We went to Connor Prairie.
What is that?
What is that?
It's
Come on, Indiana people, you know what it is.
There are no Indiana people in this chat. That's
your
a
neighbor
flyover
lives
thing.
Right next to us. Our school is right next to us.
That is wild. And you guys, if you've been watching for a while, you heard the story. But in summary, Jacob was over for UFC 3-something. What the fuck?
We went to Connor Prairie.
I hope you're churning butter.
Yeah. I mean, it's like an old, they do like reenactments and stuff. So there'd be an old lady in there just.
Well, Jacob was at my house for UFC 299, as was a neighbor. And the neighbor's like, oh, you're from Indiana? And Jacob's like, yeah. And he's like, well, I lived in Indiana for a little while. And Jacob's like, and then he goes, where are you from? Jacob's like, Fishers. He's like, oh, I lived in Fishers. And then all of a sudden they just said some random elementary school kid's name and they both knew it. And then a week later or like a couple days later, my neighbor goes to his parents' house, digs up his first grade yearbook, and him and Jacob were in the same class. And this was never, they know each other through me, and I only know him because I'm his neighbor. It's actually crazy that that's how that happened. It was quite bizarre. But anyway, let's go ahead and break down this fight. We got Mickey Gall taking on Bassil Hafez. Mickey Gall 7-5 in his career. He is 2-3 in his last 5. He is coming back after 2 full years away. He's taking on Bassil Hafez, 8-4 in his career, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that short notice UFC debut loss to Jack Della Maddalena. Mickey Gall has been gone for 2 years. And when I first broke down this fight, I said he was cut. And then people corrected me and said he wasn't cut. He had to get surgery. The reality is literally both of those things happened. He wasn't cut, but they did not renew his contract. They said, your contract's expired. We're not going to re-sign you. Then he got some surgeries. It has been 2 full years. I don't know what's been happening in those 2 years. I don't know if he's been competing in other sports. I didn't see any sign of it, like doing jiu-jitsu competition stuff. I don't know how much training he has or has not been doing. But overall, Mickey Gall is a pretty talented guy. He was brought into the UFC to lose to CM Punk. They brought him in 2016. They spent $1 million on CM Punk. They said, we need him to lose. Here's a kid. And he
Last
didn't lose.
double. Boom.
He didn't lose. He didn't lose.
CM Punk said, "Why I yada?" Whoa! Blast double. Done. See you later.
And then, next fight out, he beat Sage Northcutt. And if you've been watching for a while, and my buddy Arturo, who came over here and did some of the yard work here, he knew who Sage Northcutt was. He beat Sage Northcutt, a high prospect that the UFC cared about. But what happened here is that Mickey Gall grew up inside of the UFC. He didn't really get the opportunity to beat up regional bums. When we talked about Mitch Raposo earlier in this breakdown, we said, well, you know, he hasn't fought any real competition. He's beating up regional guys. Mickey Gall never had that opportunity. He was only fighting in the UFC. He had one fight and then UFC from then on out. So people do want to criticize his wins, but look at his losses. He's fought some very good people. And every single person that has beaten Mickey Gall would also beat Bassil Hafez. And that's what makes this breakdown interesting, because Mickey Gall is good. His hands are not great, but he's got good wrestling, very good jiu-jitsu. He's taking on Bassil Hafez. As I mentioned, he stepped up on short notice, took Jack Della Maddalena to a split decision. I do think there's probably a little too much credence into that, meaning let's not forget that that was also short notice for Jack Della Maddalena. He was supposed to fight a week earlier. That fight was scrapped. He cut the weight, did all the stuff. That fight was scrapped, then fought a week later. Like, there was a lot of interesting dynamics, but Bassil came in there, took him down 3 times, was just throwing bombs, moving forward, just being a man about it. And that is how Bassil fights. He'll shoot the takedowns. He'll stand there. He'll bomb away. He does have a wild check hook knockout highlight, but he's not a striker. He is a grappler. Striking's not terrible, but he does tend to just headhunt, if you will. Listen, I got to be on the Bassil side. He is going to be the pick. I think it's very unfortunate for Mickey Gall that he grew up in the UFC, because I do think he is talented. And if he was able to have the normal path and like gradually increase your level of competition, I think he could have a very different career here. But to be thrown into the fire in your second fight ever, I do think it probably hurt him a little bit. I think Bassil Hafez wins this fight, but Mickey Gall's good, and he can wrestle, and he can grapple, and it's not crazy if he starts shooting first and Bassil's getting a little tired, slowing down because he's defending takedowns. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Just real quick, you said that everyone that beats Mickey would also beat Bassil, so I just want to run through the names here real quick.
Okay, some of these names are good, though.
Okay, Randy Brown.
Okay, good. Randy Brown's good.
Okay, that would probably be a decent fight, right?
Okay.
And we'll talk about Randy Brown later. Diego Sanchez.
Okay, years ago, Diego Sanchez. Ultimate Fighter winner, Diego Sanchez.
3 or 4 years ago, Diego.
UFC Hall of Famer, Diego Sanchez.
Mike Perry.
Okay, BKFC legend, Mike Perry. So far, looking pretty good for me.
Alex Morono.
Okay, the second biggest favorite on this card, Alex Morono, looking pretty good for me.
And then that fucking quitter, Mike Malott.
Mike Malott's pretty good too. Outside of the quit fight, Mike Malott, that was like handsome versus handsome in that fight. Damn.
And I just want to bring up something real quick. First of all, where's this? I got a little bit sidetracked here. I did notice on Bassil, great body on Bassil. I was noticing the tattoos as well. And if you just take
is he a cancer survivor? Is that what that is?
Quick look here. Me and him, and sorry about the sorry about the body there, but we kind of have the same tattoo, little cancer ribbon, so I support that for Bassil.
Wait, did you have that cancer tattoo before your skin cancer?
Yeah. It's a.
Why'd you have it?
Well, Angelo, I've had a lot of cancer deaths in my family. I've lost multiple grandparents to cancer. This is actually a cancer ribbon to support all cancers. And if you notice the orange tips there, sorry about that nipple.
Yeah, but
the orange tips there, the orange are for my grandfather. He died of pancreatic cancer, which is purple. But it was very well known his favorite color in the world was orange, so I got the tips orange for my grandfather, who was like a father to me, and fucking miss him every day, man. It's been about almost 20 years now, so.
It's a long time. My grandparents didn't speak English, so we weren't that close.
Muito bom!
I got it. Break down this fucking fight.
Listen, Mickey Gall, he is what he is, right? He's supposed to be known as this dynamic grappler, and maybe he's able to find something in this fight. I want to bring up another picture. It's picture day today, if I can find this one. I had this one up originally, and then I fucking.
This is like Scary Movie where he's like, "Is it this one? How about this one?" And it's just him.
No, so everyone's talking about the because I think on the feet in the stand up. Bassil isn't the most dynamic striker, but the way that Mickey strikes, he's a pressure striker, and I believe he's going to be in the face of Bassil. But with that pressure, there is no defensive striking at all, and maybe he's cleaned that up, and I pray to God that he has, because Bassil, you saw against JDM, if he's proved anything against JDM, he is a tough son of a bitch, because he just at some point, he just dropped his hands and was just letting JDM, who is one of the most powerful, dynamic, future, the title defenses that JDM is going to have in this division is going to be astronomical. He's going to be the champ. He's going to smoke Shavkat. He's going to beat everyone. Have 15, 20 title defenses. Go down as the best 170er of all time. Bassil dropped his hands against the fence. Was just eating shot to return shots. He could do that against Mickey Gall. He's probably going to drop Mickey Gall. My recommendation for Bassil in this fight is don't even use your wrestling. Just wait until he walks into a shot, and you can probably drop this guy. You saw how chinny he can be against Mike Malott. It wasn't a big shot. It was a nicely timed shot by Mike Malott, but it wasn't a big shot. And then everyone's going to talk about the wrestling, the grappling. Maybe he can get in trouble. And I have loaded up on Bassil Hafez this week. I did hedge it a little bit with Mickey Gall by sub. I think that's the only way he's going to win. But Bassil this week or last week brought up a fact. Hey, guys, I know everyone's talking about the grappling of Mickey Gall. Me and him grappled together in a tournament. And guess what? Bassil won. So they have actually grappled together in a tournament.
I didn't know that.
And Bassil posted this picture. It was like, guys, we've grappled. I won. I'm going to make it 2-0. So he doesn't seem really concerned. You even saw JDM. JDM was an idiot in that fight. Tried to pull a couple guillotines. That's why that fight was close. But those guillotines were pretty good guillotines. And Bassil had no issues. Got the side control, popped the head out. No issues. He's a black belt himself. He already beat Mickey in a grappling tournament. I have all the confidence in the world for Bassil. I did hedge my bets a little bit. WeWonPicks.com, $10 a month to see what those are. I'm loaded up on Bassil. I love him this week. I just don't think Mickey's that guy, especially against a guy like Bassil. So I like Bassil.
That is funny, pulling up the Naga win from 2003. That's awesome. Good for him. Good for him. I did not know that. That was on his Instagram? I don't do that. I should do that. The only time I'll dig into somebody's Instagram is if they've been away a long time. So I looked at Mickey's, but Mickey obviously didn't post that. So I didn't check the other side of the Insta. So, no, all right. Well, are you...
Shavkat sucks, guys, and you're going to realize it soon.
Listen, I think Shavkat is very good, but I do think it's a little obvious his takedowns kind of fucking suck. And they should be better. They should be better.
Dude's getting lit up by Jeff Neal. JDM's going to take that dude's fucking head off.
Yeah, his takedowns are a little overrated. All right, that's a different fight for another day.
That's our champion right there.
Okay. Our Ginger Whites, the Ginger White champion.
Look at that thighs. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Okay. I'm the weird one this time. Okay, you're going to spend the $9,200 in DraftKings? Like, you're like... Bassil's winning this fight. He has to stop Mickey to cover that, basically. Or take him down 500 times.
He's going to do one or the other, probably.
Yeah. He could potentially be worth that. Mickey's a good wrestler. That's the one thing that worries me.
Is he?
Yes, he is. That's the one thing that worries me. But, yeah, Bassil Hafez is probably one of the... I have him listed as medium confidence. Minus 330 is not great, but it's certainly a discount off that minus 450.
Originally, it was it wasn't
Typology,
always Mickey.
I'll tell you.
I thought it's not listed on this card. I thought he was supposed to fight somebody else originally, but maybe not.
Yeah, then maybe it was a rumor because it was not on Typology. Then it wasn't a thing. If you do want to unlock all of Jacob's bets on this fight, all of our picks, bets on every other fight, every other thing that
Parsons.
We do, there you go.
That would have been a little bit different.
Yeah, Preston's good.
WeWantPicks.com. In that one.
Click Become a Member. It is only $10 for an entire month. You'll unlock everything you ever wanted or needed heading into a fight week. Bassil was minus 175
against Preston. Yeah, Preston slows down. Preston.
So does Bassil.
Week I know.
I guess it was short notice, but
Bassil trains at Elevation. He's gonna be good to go. Full camp. This dude's gonna be locked and loaded, baby. Look at that guy.
I mean, he should win. It's funny that they're the exact same age.
I'm
And
Mickey.
they don't look it.
Oh.
I like Mickey Gall. Because Mickey Gall's got like a chip on his shoulder too.
What are you doing tonight, Minnie? Trying to get loud?
That's like oddly good.
I used to do that. You know when I used to do that? And it'll be obvious for a lot of people. I used to do that all the time on Xbox Live, and parties and stuff. Oh, man. We're having a good time. Oh, Minnie, you want to come over?
I never played. I loved video games, and then when they went on the internet, I was like, I can't play with strangers.
Uh-huh. Wow,
And that's
Minnie,
when I was
what a
out.
body.
Okay. Next up at UFC 302, we have a rematch. A rematch like 6 years in the making. A rematch of a century that everybody has been calling for. And I'm overemphasizing and dramatizing the fact that this is a rematch because I don't think it matters at all. Like not even a little bit that this is a rematch because a lot of things has happened to both of their careers since then. But people like to point it out. They like to remind you that this is a rematch and that Niko Price did technically knock out, and by technically I mean had him unconscious,
While he was
Alex
high as
Morono.
shit.
Alex Morono. Yeah, because then he popped for weed. The weed. But we do have a rematch. Niko Price trying to double up his wins against Alex Morono. Niko Price 15-7 overall. Only 1-3-1 in his last 5. He is coming off that finished loss to Robbie Lawler. Taking on Alex Morono, 24-9 overall. 3-2 in his last 5. He is alternating wins and losses. And this is an interesting fight because Niko Price is a very, very dangerous guy. He's got multiple knockouts standing and 2 of them off his back. He will be a highlight reel forever, knocking people out off his back the way that he did. He's a ton of fun to watch. He has no problem putting himself in harm's way for our entertainment. And he's got skills. But for the most part, he's coming out there, he's swinging, he's putting on a show, and he's just trying to win these fights while having fun. You're not going to expect a lot of clean technique, but you can expect somebody that will come forward and fight as hard as he possibly can until his body gives out on him. And he has been in a couple of wars. He's been hit a couple of times, but he will continue to move forward no matter what. He's coming off that loss to Robbie Lawler. I was there in person. The wife got me floor seats to that fight for my 40th birthday, and I have never...
Jesus Christ.
You're like, you're how old? I have never, of any event I've ever been to, whether, UFC or other sports, concerts, anything I've ever been to, I have never felt a crazier energy than when Niko Price got knocked out. Like, people went nuts. People were crying. They played a Robbie Lawler tribute. It was crazy.
Can we kind of talk about that? Because I'm obviously, you know me, I'm not a. And it's going to sound like it's going to sound like I'm being sarcastic right now, but I'm not like a conspiracy guy. It's like it is what it is. All this stuff.
It was too perfect.
I've watched that, dude. I watched that over and over this past weekend. Dude, that's the craziest shit in the world, dude. He just like. And he goes, oh, just completely just fall. It's like, Jesus Christ. That's like the most, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but every time I watch that, I'm like, okay. All right. I watched Phil Rowe smoke this dude, and Niko just kind of stumbles backwards and tries to fight back. Yeah. Robbie Lawler goes, yeah. And then goes, yeah, just barely hits him on the temple.
Robbie Lawler does hit hard, so it's like not like it was.
Those were just boom and boom. I mean, he had him in a clinch. He just pop, pop.
Well, either way, if it was a dive, I'm happy for it because it was awesome. Being there live for that was awesome. Yeah. The stretcher was a little much, but he's taking on Alex Morono, and what makes this fight interesting is because Alex Morono is very talented and very inconsistent. He's a pretty well-rounded guy. He's got that awkward striking style, but it can be effective. Typical. He's pretty durable for the most part, right? He got finished a couple of times, but for the most part, he's pretty durable. He's a tough guy. He's got some power. He actually dropped Niko multiple times in their fight, and he just happens to be an incredibly high-level BJJ black belt. He doesn't use it. He barely ever wrestles. But it's there. Heaven forbid he should need it. Alex Morono is the better fighter in this matchup. He just is. Does he have as much power? No. Niko Price has way more power. But Alex Morono should be more durable. Alex Morono should have the better jiu-jitsu. I'm positive has the better jiu-jitsu. Alex Morono probably has the better, just technical striking. So because of all those things, Alex Morono should win this fight. My only caution to you is kind of an untrustworthy guy. Kind of goes out there and makes fights closer than they need to be. He should have ran through Court McGee, and that was a razor-thin decision. Razor-thin. He should have blown through that guy, and he didn't. And he should blow through Niko Price, and he might not. But Alex Morono is going to be the pick because you got to pick the better guy in this fight. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Alex, the great
What?
The great White Morono. He is I know both these. Listen, guys, I know both these guys very well. Niko was my anti-lock of the week. I had Phil Rowe, the Philly Fresh Phil Rowe against Niko. So I know Niko well. By the way, that was, you want to talk about, everyone wants to talk about the greatest lock of the week finish of all time. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's got to be Max Holloway, right? Because that was one of the greatest finishes of all time. The answer is absolutely not. Because Max Holloway was going to win that fight regardless. I mean, he was dominating. He was winning that fight. If that fight went a second longer, he was going to win that fight. So the knockout was great. But I'm telling you right now, the greatest lock of the week finish of all fucking time was Phil Rowe against Niko, because that dude Phil Rowe was down. He was out. He was against the ropes, and all of a sudden lands a left hand, and it's like, oh, here we go, Philly. Niko started backing up, and Phil got the fucking finish, and that, to me, was the greatest lock of the week finish of all time. I know Niko well. Alex Morono, also a former lock of the week against Buckley. Whoops. He was a lock of the week against Buckley, and I am no longer a Buckley hater. I picked Buckley against Nurzel.
Even with all his Twitter bullshit, he's going out of his way to make people not like him.
Yeah, he is. It is
it's
not a
unfortunate.
good situation. That's what somebody was like. I think somebody even tweeted, was like, somebody needs to grab your phone because you're ruining all this momentum that you had. Everyone loved you, and it's like now you're just tweeting just random bullshit. He was like getting into it with Cub Swanson. I even tweeted Buckley. I sent Buckley because he was like, you're a hoe too, or something about the Cub Swanson. Cub is my fucking, that's my day one. That's my dog. You want to talk about my favorite fighter of all time? I know I got the Ryan Hall shit. Cub Swanson is my number one, and I can't wait. 303, he's fighting on that card. But I tweeted at Buckley too. I was like, hey, you're talking to my guy all wrong. It's the wrong tone. that gift from Joe Dirt. But anyway, I know Alex Morono well. Alex Morono should win this fight. He's good enough on the feet to win a striking battle. If Niko takes him down, he's a crazy dangerous guy on the ground. But I'm with you, man. Alex Morono at this point, I don't know how anybody can bet him, especially at, flip the slide back, what is it, minus 230, minus 230, I mean, minus 200. In my mind, I would price this fight, Alex Morono, minus 125, minus 150, because he's just not... Yeah. He's just not a trustworthy guy. He goes in there. He has a lot of fun. Both these guys have a lot of fun. I'm not saying that Niko's a trustworthy guy as well. They both enjoy fighting. They want to knock people out. Alex Morono, if he was a smart guy, he would be getting takedowns and use his grappling. He doesn't really give a shit. When you listen to his fights, he's at Fortis MMA right down the road with Saif Sayoud. Saif Sayoud the entire time is like, Alex, hands up, Alex, right hand, circle, Alex. He's just screaming at Alex the whole time, and Alex just like does his own thing, is in his own little world, doing his own thing. He's just such a hard guy to trust. But what I think is going to happen is Niko is probably going to come in and wrestle for whatever reason. And on the ground, I think that Alex Morono is going to find something. I think Alex Morono by sub is a sneaky play for this fight. I'm going to pick Alex. He is probably the better fighter. He is. But to bet him, unless you're betting like a little flyer, like a submission bet or something like that, you're going to be clutching your pearls probably for 15 minutes. But I'm going with Alex. I love Alex. I think Niko as well. Both fun guys, great guys.
Oh, they're both very entertaining.
Yeah, and it should be a fun, entertaining fight, but it's probably going to be way too close for Alex to be able to bet on him, but he's going to be my pick.
Yeah, I mean, the last fight is all you need. Like, Alex Morono is a ton of fun to watch. Good fighter. I love watching him. I picked him against Matt Semmelsberger, 2 years ago at this point. Was riding high off of that for a while, but then he will lay an egg out of nowhere. Even, like I said, he should have torn through Court McGee. Shouldn't have been
Circle left, Alex! Circle left, Alex! Avoid the power, Alex. They just screaming the entire time, and Alex just like, just on his little tippy toes, looking for that big check left.
I do think Alex wins, obviously, and if he wins, it's probably by finish.
I don't know.
On the feet or the ground. I mean, I think Niko Price has been hit a few too many times. And I see on Facebook, I trained with him years ago, long before this show. And he was like crazy young. And I lived in Cape Coral and he lived in Cape Coral. And this was before he was like anything. And they're like, oh, you're a wrestler. Can you train with him? Can you wrestle with him? Can you wrestle with him? And so I did a lot. He was a nice guy, like whatever, show up train. And, then he got, I think it was a short notice step up in the UFC because I tried to get him a Bellator contract. And then he got that short notice step up to the UFC and he had like the exciting off his back knockout. And that's really where he blew up. But he's willing to go out there and get into wars. But where I'm going with all this is I think I'm friends with him on Facebook or people that he knows or whatever, because I'm constantly seeing like some like bait and tackle vending machine business, some other business. He's
selling worms, huh?
Basically from a vending machine, which is not a terrible idea.
Those were big in Indiana. I don't know if you had bait shops up in.
We had bait shops. All the bait shops closed because now Walmart sells worms. What the hell else?
Walk up into a cooler, a little styrofoam thing of worms.
Yeah.
Go to town.
Huge
chicken
night crawlers
or whatever you
want. It's funny because like 2 weeks ago, my neighbor was like, "Where do you get worms?" I was like, "Walmart has them." And then the other neighbor's like, "Make sure you shake them. Sometimes they're dead." It's like a bunch of fucking hillbillies. But anyway, my point being, like, he's got a lot going on, and I think he's very much in the twilight of his career. Let me show up. Let me have some fun. I'll put on a show. What's peixe?
I think that's Brazilian or Portuguese for fish. I think it's peixe. I think I just did it off the top of my head.
Well, it probably is because in Italian it's pesce.
Ooh.
So it probably is. Yeah, I'm also bilingual, but I don't rub it in everybody's face. And by bilingual, I mean I'm not. Anyway, we both think Alex Morono wins. I think he can win by finish. So those $8,900 in DraftKings might not be the worst money you spend while building a lineup, and you could get some decent value if you are going to go down that prop bet road or even the under 2.5. If you do want to unlock every single thing that we have to offer, including the DraftKings fantasy content, including the FanDuel content, including the picks, the bets, the round line leans, the artificial intelligence that is picking fights at a better accuracy than any human that you know, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It's only $10 for an entire month. Yep, and those are all the events we get.
Did the math.
Next up, at UFC 302, we got Phil Rowe.
Philly fresh, baby.
Taking on Jake Matthews. This could be an interesting fight. Philly Rowe is the underdog in this fight, and I kind of get it, especially if you watch his last fight and really absorbed those decisions in that fight IQ. We got Phil Rowe 10-4 in his career. He is 3-2 in his last 5. He is coming off that decision loss to Neil Magny. He's taking on Jake Matthews 19-7 in his career. 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off that decision loss to Michael Morales. Philip Rowe's very good. He's crazy tall for this weight class. Good volume striker. Does a great job using that length, using that range. His ground game is good as well. Almost like a Kevin Holland, right? Good striker, good jiu-jitsu. But for some reason, he decided to wrestle in his last fight. He can be hittable as well. He does have a negative striking differential, which is surprising for a guy that's as good of a striker and as long as he is. He should not be getting hit more often than he's hitting his opponents. He is coming off that frustrating loss to Neil Magny, where it was obvious he could win that fight. It was very, very clear Neil Magny can win this fight. But then he would clinch, then he would grapple, then he would try to shoot takedowns, and lost the fight. He gave the fight away. And the insane decisions he was making in that fight cost him, and I hope he learned from those mistakes. He's taking on Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews, I'm going to say the words, he's a well-rounded guy. Jake Matthews is very similar to, who the hell did I break down last week? I'm forgetting his name. Richie Lang. Oh. He's very similar to a Richie Lang last week where I said he can strike, he can wrestle, but he doesn't do both at the same time. Last week, a Richie Lang was a wrestler. He went all in the wrestling, didn't bother striking. And Jake Matthews is one or the other. He either is a powerful striker with big, fast right hands or a wrestler. He doesn't typically go out there and mix things up well. His last fight is a perfect example. He went out there, he attempted one single takedown against Michael Morales, and then just got outstruck the rest of that fight. But Jake Matthews does have some power. He can wrestle, and if he was able to tie it all together really well and transition between the two, he'd be a force. but he's a bit inconsistent because he will only pick one lane at a time. This is a tough fight. This is a tough fight to pick. But if I did not see the odds, and Jacob and I have talked about this many times, when we do our research, our picks, our notes, and all that, I don't look at the odds ahead of time. I don't look at them. And when I'm doing the breakdowns and stuff, the odds aren't even up on Tapology yet. So I just look at it, who I think is going to win, and go from there. Sometimes it's pretty obvious. In this case, I thought Phil Rowe was going to be the favorite because Jake Matthews is wildly inconsistent. Phil Rowe is long, tall, hits hard. He does all of those things. I was like, what is he? Is that to the chat? Because when I'm doing this, I got the chat covered.
Muito bom.
I thought Phil was going to be the favorite. I picked Phil to win. I do think Phil was going to win. The only reason I haven't bet, it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust him. After the decisions he made in that last fight, it is hard to trust him. And if Jake Matthews decides to be the striker version of himself, Phil wins this fight. If Jake Matthews decides to be the wrestler version of himself, Jake wins this fight. So I need two things to happen here for Phil to win. We need Jake to want to strike, and we need Phil to not make terrible decisions. Phil is going to be the pick. I trust him. I think that last loss, he's in a good team. He's training with good people. He's a smart guy. All the frustrations that we had watching that fight, I am positive him and his team had that after, and hopefully those mistakes won't be made again. Phil Rowe is my pick. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I'm obviously, I just talked about that with the Niko fight. Phil Rowe, that's my dog, man. I mean, he was a former lock of the week, one of the greatest lock of the weeks of all time, the greatest finish against Niko. I also was surprised I broke down this fight because Jake Matthews is definitely a very well-rounded guy, but he doesn't really shine anywhere. He's like super solid kind of everywhere. He's probably better on the ground than he is with the striking. Against Morales, he definitely held his own in that fight, but he just doesn't seem like he's overly dominant anywhere against a guy like Phil Rowe. But, like you said, I had that lock of the week win versus Niko. I came in against Neil Magny, and I said Philip Rowe is going to fucking smoke Neil Magny. And what did I say? Going into that fight, I said, all's he got to do, Philly, is back this guy up against the fence because Neil's just going to casually back up to the fence, stay at range, and just fucking box this dude's head off, and you're going to probably get a first-round knockout because Neil Magny cannot strike with you. And what did Phil Rowe do? He came in, he backed him up, he boom, 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 strike. It looked like, oh, here we go, Philly, we're doing it. And then he lunges in for the clinch and spent the next 15 fucking minutes clinching Neil Magny. Everybody knows the only way that you're going to lose to Neil Magny is if you get in a clinch position with him, let you wear him. He's going to wear you down in those, because that's what he loves to do. Eventually, he's going to trip, take you down. You saw the exact same thing with Mike Malott. He just weather storms. He clinches with you. He makes it dirty, gets you on the ground, and then he is going to try to finish you on the ground. I don't know if that was just a brain fart from Phil in that fight, if that was a game planning thing, if there was somebody in your camp, Phil, that said, we're going to clinch with this guy, we're going to get dirty with this, we're going to try to wrestle this guy, that guy should be fucking fired. That's just the way it is. You don't clinch Neil Magny. And ever since that fight, he's just a hard guy to trust. I'm with you, Angelo. He's just he should smoke, in my mind, he should smoke Jake Matthews. He should stay at range, outbox this guy. If Jake takes a shot, use your offense, threaten that front choke, get a reversal. Let's use some to be able to get back your feet. I wouldn't mess around too much on the ground, Jake Matthews, but you have the grappling to keep this standing, and you have the striking to win this fight. I'm going Jake Matthews.
I was going to say, you texted me like we have 4 different picks or whatever to 5, and then you said Jake, everything he's saying.
I know, I'm going Jake Matthews because I just think that it's going to come down in my mind to, I think this is going to be a close fight. I think this is probably going to be a decision fight. And in my mind, it's going to come down to pace, pressure, and volume. And I know that Jake Matthews is going to be in his face. He's probably going to have the more volume. And unless Phil can kind of touch this guy and hurt this guy, I think that's going to be enough. I think Phil's just not going to do enough to win rounds. And Jake Matthews is going to sneak out this decision. So I'm going Jake Matthews here, but, Phil's still my boy. I'm going to be rooting for Phil. I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he smokes this guy. But as far as being a capper and making picks, I like the volume of Jake in this fight.
If he goes all in on the wrestling, he'll have some success. I mean, we saw Trevor Witt. Not Trevor Witt. Is it
He
Trevor
went
Witt?
toe-to-toe in his last fight in the striking, just fine.
Yeah, but Michael Morales can be a little low volume at times.
Ding,
But
ding. There you go.
Yeah. Well, we are on opposite sides of this one. I think most normal people would look at this and have the same read. You and I had the exact same read. We just picked on a different side.
He's definitely not a fucking quitter, and he will grind.
Yeah.
I mean, that versus Niko too. I mean, it looked like he was down and out, landed a shot, but he definitely will slow down. He's a big guy. It's a big weight cut.
What's funny is we literally had the exact same read, but we just picked the opposite side. We said the exact same thing.
I don't think he needs to wrestle.
I do think he does need to wrestle, but well, and I need Phil to not make poor decisions, which is, we'll find out. I do like Phil at $7,900. Now it goes against most things that I say when I say DraftKings wants wrestlers or finishes, and I don't think Phil Rowe is going to wrestle, so he's not going to score points there, and I don't know if he's going to finish, but I do think there could be some decent volume, and I do think he can crack Jake Matthews. Phil Rowe has done this before. As you've said, weathered some storms, late finishes. Phil Rowe doesn't lose all his power after the first round. He does have some late finishes.
He's so precise. That's what I mean. What was so frustrating about the Neil, because you saw it. You saw the extended, long, clean strike, just right on the button at the very end of the punch against Neil, and then he just starts hugging him. It's like, dude, get back. You're such a good striker. You're such a good boxer. Get back to space, man. Come on, Philly.
That loss might be the best thing that happened to him. He was feeling himself, or a little, it might literally be the best thing that happened to him. So I'm going to ride with Phil. Jakey boy's on the other side of this. If you do want to unlock the picks, the bets, the round line leans, and everything else, it's only $10 for an entire month. UFC 302 will be your first event, and you can get all the way to UFC 303 with that $10. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top.
We'll be right back.
Are you going somewhere?
People are saying Dr. Phil, so I did the Dr. Phil thing.
Oh, that's what that was? Next up, at UFC 302, we have a battle of the grapplers. We got Grant Dawson coming back after a very unfortunate, very quick, very underwhelming knockout loss, taking on Joe Solecki, who's also a grappler, who also is coming off of a very unfortunate knockout loss. Grant Dawson is 20-2. He has built a nice career for himself, but he is coming off of his first ever main event, and he was knocked out almost instantly by a dirty look by Bobby Green. He's taken on Joe Solecki, 13-4 in his career, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off the slam knockout loss to Jakar Close. He had a beautiful takedown, set up a nice armbar, and then was just picked up and slammed on his head, and then that was the end of that. Very unfortunate for him, but this is a battle of the grapplers. Grant Dawson is exactly that. He's a very good wrestler who will then transition to the grappling. He's not sloppy. He's not going to come sliding off you. He's not going to make a ton of mistakes. Obviously, there is footage of him making a few mistakes against a few fighters, but for the most part, he's a very good wrestler who will shoot takedown after takedown after takedown, have relentless pressure and relentless control. He's beaten a lot of guys that he shouldn't have beaten on paper. He beat Mark Madsen, Olympic wrestler. He out-wrestled him. And to Grant Dawson's credit, I think he was like very emotional after that fight. He said something like, I didn't even place in high school, or I wasn't varsity. It was like something like that. And he's like, I just out-wrestled an Olympian. And that is like credit to him. That is the hard work and the time that goes into this. And granted, different styles of wrestling, and a cage is not a wrestling mat and all that, but it doesn't matter. He put the work in and he beat an Olympic wrestler, and it showed. And when Grant Dawson is that guy and he can get his wrestling going, look what he did to Damir Ismagulov. When he can get his wrestling going, Grant Dawson looks absolutely amazing.
He had that motherfucker in a full Nelson. That was one of the most embarrassing losses I've ever had in my life. I said that this guy, Damir Ismagulov, was going to be a future champion. He like half retires, then he comes back, and I'm like, oh my God, he's going to come back and smoke. He's got wrestling, but the striking is going to be unreal. And then third round, I see this guy, Damir, in a fucking full Nelson. I've never seen that in my fucking life in a UFC fight. I have the picture too, because I saved it on my phone. It's fucking the most absurd thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, yeah, Grant Dawson smoked him, and he was not supposed to win that fight. He wasn't supposed to win the Mark Madsen fight. But Grant Dawson is of a dying era. He is a two-dimensional fighter. He is a wrestler and a grappler. He's not going to hang around for a striking match, and I'm sure he puts the time in. He's had a good team. I am sure he's putting the time in. I'm sure his hands look really good on the bag, really good when he's training, but he doesn't use them. He immediately starts grappling. And I don't think it's going to matter much here because he's taking on Joe Solecki, also a very good grappler. Joe Solecki, when I first broke him down years ago in the UFC, and he fought Jim Miller, I basically said Joe Solecki is Jim Miller 2.0. He's got better hands, better wrestling. Maybe not, but yeah, that is a
Have you ever seen that in your a full Nelson?
It would be funnier if he was like belly down and it really was like a full Nelson, but yeah.
That's like when somebody won a fight with the walls of Jericho.
That's like at a bar, like with how they hold you, like before they arrest you.
Well,
With
it's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Demir? Jesus Christ.
That is embarrassing. But Joe Solecki is very good. I think he's got decent striking. I think he's got good enough boxing. He can hang with people. He can beat technically sound boxers like he beat Jared Gordon with the striking. He is coming off that loss to Jakar Close where he had a real nice takedown, a real nice armbar setup, and then he got Rampage Jackson on his head. I think Joe Solecki is very, very good. And I think this is an unfortunate matchup for Joe because, as I've said many times, a lot of these wrestler versus wrestler matchups, and I'm saying wrestler versus wrestler, not grappler versus grappler, because they do both use their wrestling. These are not Mackenzie Dern jiu-jitsu nerds that don't have offensive wrestling. They both use their wrestling to get fights to the ground. Once this is on the ground, their jiu-jitsu is the same. Grant Dawson's not a finisher. Joe Solecki can be a finisher, but their jiu-jitsu is good enough to not submit each other. There's not going to be a submission there. So then it's just going to come down to the wrestling. And Grant Dawson has proven multiple times over he's the better wrestler in most of these matchups because he's willing to shoot. It's much easier to finish a shot than it is to defend one. Grant Dawson is going to be the pick, but Joe Solecki's a lot better than these odds. What do you think, Jakey Bomba Lotes?
Comments aren't going to like this. Listen, if you guys want to trust Grant Dawson at now he's minus 510.
He's 5'10". I did these graphics this morning.
510 on the odds. If you want to trust him, good for you, man. That's cool. It's really, you got to really put your heart of that. I have no doubt probably that Grant Dawson probably is going to win the first round of this fight, right? You mentioned this is grappler versus grappler. Grant's definitely more of probably the wrestler. I would say his wrestling to jiu-jitsu is probably like 60-40 or 70-30 wrestling to jiu-jitsu, where Joe Solecki to me is either 50-50 or maybe even a little bit 60-40 jiu-jitsu to wrestling. So I believe that Grant Dawson's probably going to get a takedown and have the control in the first round. I also believe that Joe Solecki's going to make him work. Right, even if Grant Dawson's on his back, Joe Solecki's going to be trying to work the sweeps, all this stuff, all this slick jiu-jitsu stuff, and Grant Dawson's probably going to be able to beat him to spots, especially with his wrestling acumen, to be able to win that first round. Right, so everyone that's going to bet Grant Dawson at minus 500, put him in all these parlays, they're going to be feeling good. Right, he's going to have 4 minutes of control, whatever it is, and they're going to be feeling good, or maybe he's not. Right, because we saw him get dropped by Bobby Green. Right, we saw him, by the way, get fucking dropped by Mark Madsen. You can go rewatch the first round of that fight. Just like the Bobby Green fight. And shame on me and shame on us for not realizing that against Bobby Green, because the exact same thing happened. Just a nice little shot. He gets dropped. He was able to get a takedown and work through that in that Mark Madsen fight, which he wasn't able to do against Bobby Green. But he's getting dropped by Mark Madsen. What about Mark Madsen getting dropped? So you want to talk about Joe Solecki? He's got no striking. He's got whatever. He's still a big guy. He still can throw a fist, and it doesn't take much against Grant Dawson. We've seen it twice now, right? You want to trust this guy, Grant Dawson? Go watch that Ricky Glenn fight, right? And that was a different camp. He was with James Krause. That was a while ago, and it seems like he's cleaned some stuff up, and good for him. Watch how the second round starts. That's the second round. And the sloppy-ass takedown that he tries to shoot on Ricky Glenn. Now, eventually, he's able to get a takedown. And Grant Dawson's a tough dude, and he's fucking relentless. He might get tired, but he's not going to stop. There's no doubt about that. But when you get sloppy against another grappler, against another wrestler, you run into fucking issues. And eventually, against Ricky Glenn, he ran into some fucking issues. And he was basically finished in that fight because he death gassed. He had a grappler on top of him who not only almost TKO'd him, but had him in a nice darce to finish that fight. The fight ended, and it took James Krause running into the octagon to pick Grant Dawson up because they were about to call that fight because he couldn't even stand up. That was a few years ago. Now he's at ATT. It seems like he's cleaned some stuff up. I don't know how anybody can trust Grant Dawson until it's like, let's see him bounce back, right? Just because, you don't have to bet him, guys, right? He's minus 500. You don't have to bet this guy. Yeah, he's probably going to win the first round, but I think Joe Solecki is going to have the gas tank. I think he's going to be able to make this guy work, and if he reverses one position, we've seen Grant Dawson on his back just kind of turtle up. Against Ricky Glenn, he just kind of turtled up. Right? He just kind of let Ricky Glenn. I've never seen a slower darce get put in my life. Hammer fist a couple times, slides. He's like, oh shit, okay, here we go. It's like, whoa, rolls to the fucking hip. It was the slime. Grant Dawson's just like, oh. Listen, Grant Dawson's probably going to win the first round. He could definitely win. He should win this fight. He's the better wrestler. But Jesus Christ, I think that this is going to be close. The craziest part about this, that tells you how close even the odds makers and bettors think this fight's going to be. I think the line was still minus 350 or minus 400 for Grant Dawson. The plus 3.5 for Joe Solecki. It's plus money now because the odds have gotten crazy. It was like minus 180 for plus 3.5. So they think that this fight's going to be close. They think that Joe Solecki, eventually, it got bet down, obviously, but they opened it up thinking that this is going to be a close fight. He can win a round. And I think he can win too. I'm going Joe Solecki.
You're picking Joe Solecki?
Now, let me be...
Yeah, dude.
I have not bet.
Take the glasses off so they know you're serious.
No, I'm being dead serious here. And I made this point very clear in my quick picks as well. There is a huge difference between picks, which we have to make a pick every single fight, and bets, right? I have not bet Joe Solecki. But I'm telling you right now that plus 375, plus 4, whatever it turns into, it's going to be looking real tasty come Saturday morning. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'm going with Joe Solecki as my pick, though.
What's Saturday morning?
Well, the fights are Saturday. The odds might get crazier and crazier by Saturday.
Oh, I was like, what are we going to get on Saturday morning? Well, are you going to throw your boy Joe in a DraftKings lineup at $6,900?
Sweeps, reversals, what are those, 5 points?
5, yeah, same as a takedown.
Some takedowns of his own.
I think it comes down to who shoots first, and Grant historically does shoot first.
Grant's probably going to have 4 minutes of control in the first round. Everyone's going to be in the Discord, on Twitter. Oh, he was free, it was easy, and then when you see Grant Dawson take that first bad shot, oh, you better start getting nervous.
Joe Solecki might be, and people will correct me if I'm wrong, he might be the best grappler that Grant Dawson has fought so far, just jiu-jitsu wise.
Ricky Glenn's pretty good. And actually, what's funny is I wasn't making fun of Ricky Glenn, but I put that clip on Twitter, like Ricky Glenn did this to your minus 400 favorite, and it was Darius Flowers. He follows me on Twitter. He tweeted me, he's like, dude, Ricky Glenn's good. I was like, yeah, I know he's good, but he's not a top. Grant Dawson's supposed to be this champion level guy.
They put him in a main event,
and he nearly almost got finished by Ricky Glenn, who, let's be honest, is a good grappler, but he's not even a top 15 guy.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I hear you. By the way, we are split on this, but I don't think the spectrum is as wide as the picks might be. But you can unlock all of our picks. The website got a nice little overhaul. Now you go to the picks page. It is my picks, Jacob's picks, Artem's picks, and the artificial intelligence all right next to each other. So you can very easily see where we all line up, where we differ, and what that looks like. And that idea came to us because we put out a survey to the well over 3,000 premium members and said, what would you like to see? And people said, I want to see all the picks together. I want to see all the bets together. I want it all in one place, because I like to compare. And then more recently, we've been seeing comments saying, I love when Jacob and Angelo agree, and then I cross-check it with the artificial intelligence, blah, 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 blah. So all of those changes are rolling out now. The picks, the bets, those have been changed, easier than ever to get to. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It's only $10 for an entire month. We do have 2 super chats. Double A said, I'm going to UFC 302 to see Dustin finish
Shine bright
his
like a
story.
diamond.
Just wanted to give you guys my appreciation. Your tools have helped me a lot, and Artem deserves more credit than he gets. Also, Cooked Connor is getting smoked. I agree. Connor's getting smoked. I agree.
Connor.
Coked. You're right. And look at me being a young guy, just assuming it said cooked because that's what young people say.
Cozino.
And Artem does deserve a lot more credit. Artem picked a perfect PFL card. 2 in a row, I think. And that's just something else you get with premium. Artem's breaking down more than just UFC. And we also have Running Mouth MMA on there. I don't talk about them enough, but Running Mouth MMA, there's 3 of them giving you their picks and bets. Double A, thank you for the super chat. Enjoy UFC 302. I've been to Prudential Center. I went UFC 98 at the Prudential Center. So enjoy. It's a great arena for a
Your
fight.
spiked hair and nipple ring.
I did not. The nipple ring was gone, but the nipple ring only lasted, it didn't last long. Until Mama Bear ripped it out.
Couple years.
Tanis with the $1.99. Let's effing go, boys. About to be at New Jersey live. Excited for the vlog for UFC 303. That should be a good vlog. And maybe we'll do 2. Maybe Jacob will edit 1 and I'll have the guy who normally edits mine. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Because I am thinking I should do a fight foods, but I'm obviously not going to cook. Literally just a vlog of all the disgusting shit that I eat. In a 3-day period, just like
one time we should climb into that
Mukbang.
king size bed that we have and order some room service and really go to town and film that.
And that would be funny if we just like we're going, we film the vlog and we do film in the room and there's just like clues that we're just sharing a room and there's only one bed. Like, wait a minute, isn't that his shirt? Wait, why are they under the covers eating? Like,
I mean, I don't know why.
Guys, I'm married with children and I'm happy and it's not a facade.
That happens a lot, these married guys, huh? All it takes is one little trip to Vegas with your friend and all of a sudden...
All it takes is a Vegas trip with a friend and a Brazilian Sergio Tacchini to really get the juice. You do look like a Brazilian Goomba. If that was Italian colors or just velour, you'd be sitting outside of a coffee shop. 8 hours a day outside of a coffee shop doing no actual work, but somehow
today, Jerry?
Somehow have nice things. That's
What's the news today, Jerry?
Like if you had pants that match the rest of it, then that's exactly.
I'm swimming with the fishies.
That's exactly what you would be. Here we go. What the heck? Oh man, I'm an idiot. All right. Don't have the DraftKings slide on here because I did Jailton Almeida instead by accident. Is what it is. Next up, at UFC 302, we have the featured prelim of the evening. We have high-level kickboxer versus high-level kickboxer. Last fight we broke down was a couple of grapplers having at it. These are a couple of strikers. We got Cesar Almeida taking on Roman Kopylov. Cesar Almeida only 5-0 in his MMA career, but that's because he's moved over more recently after a long, successful kickboxing career. He is undefeated. He does have 4 stoppages. He's taking on Roman Kopylov, 12-3 in his UFC or in his MMA career, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off that submission loss to Anthony Hernandez. I mentioned this is 2 high-level kickboxers. Cesar Almeida famously is a high-level kickboxer. He fought Alex Pereira 3 times. He did beat him once. He did lose to him 2 times, but he's a big-time professional kickboxer that has achieved a lot of success in that world. And the Alex Pereira comparisons are already flowing in. He's basically been brought in the exact same path, same weight class, looking to have that same success. He's good. He's good. He's a very good kickboxer. So then the question always becomes, what about the takedown defense? And against the cage, his takedown defense is fantastic. But a lot of people can defend takedowns against the cage. In the middle of the cage, his takedown defense is almost non-existent. But against the cage, which just back up, scoot your butt, do what you got to do. Against the cage, he is a hard guy to take down. Overall, he's very dangerous. He is working on that ground game, and he is coming off that knockout win over Dylan Budka. He's taking on Roman Kopylov, another successful kickboxer that moved over to MMA. He does have that professional kickboxing experience. He does do a really nice job picking his shots, settling in. He is 4-3 in the UFC. He essentially has only been beaten by people who can take him down. People who cannot take him down, he's knocked them all out. If you can't take Roman down, you have a really, really tough outing in front of you. He has an 87% takedown defense, and I don't think it matters in this fight. People are loving Cesar Almeida in this matchup, and I totally get it Because if you're just looking at it and you're like, well, this is a very good kickboxer versus a very good kickboxer. And this one, Cesar, beat Alex Bejeda once. And Cesar is the more accomplished of the two in the kickboxing world, so I got to go with Cesar. And that logic is sound. I'm not going to disagree with that logic. I'm not going to pick it apart. What I will say is this is an MMA fight. And before you jump down my throat and say, well, Roman doesn't wrestle, he does, though, occasionally. Not often, but he did take down Division III All-American Punahil Soriano. Took him down. Didn't need to. Took him down. And this is an MMA fight. And Roman Kopylov is not a chinny guy. He's been cracked a few times, but he's not a chinny guy. And Cesar Almeida, while he is putting people out, this will be the highest level striker he's fought inside of a cage. Roman Kopylov has 15 fights worth of experience in a cage, with cage control, with clinch against the cage, with that distance, with that range, with all of that. I am on the Roman Kopylov side. I totally 100% understand being on the Cesar Almeida side. I completely understand why the line has moved. Roman Kopylov opened as a favorite. He is now squarely the underdog. What do you think? Jakey Bambalots.
Yeah, this is and let me talk about Cesar first, because Cesar, I was all over Cesar in his fight versus Dylan. Right, he actually was my lock of the week for a couple days, right? So I know my lock of the weeks are my almost lock of the weeks. He literally was locked in as my lock of the week versus Dylan. He won that fight, right? But I'm going to tell you why I switched off him for lock of the week. Because a lot of times I make a lock of the week and then I kind of double down on the research just to kind of solidify, just to make sure I feel good about it. I made him my lock of the week. I understood that he was up against a wrestler, and I thought that he could do enough to be able to get back to his feet because he's learning fast, right? The MMA, you can tell that he is learning fast in the MMA world as far as not only like kind of using offensive wrestling, which we've seen from him, but defensive wrestling, get back to his feet, be able to defend takedowns. He's got good takedown defense, especially against the fence, like Angelo mentioned. But I started rewatching the film, started rewatching the tape, and I understand everything that comes with Cesar, right? You hear the Alex Bejeda stuff. You hear all the kickboxing stuff. You see the highlights of him knocking people out. And him knocking out Kopylov, to me, wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world, right? He's got power. He's got that big power at 185. He can knock out pretty much anybody if he lands a nice shot, just like in Alex Bejeda, right? Alex Bejeda's going to knock out anybody if he lands a shot. But a lot of times in MMA, especially with these smaller gloves, it's not really about power. It's about timing. It's about speed. And I mentioned speed because when I watch Cesar Almeida fight, I understand all these credentials. I understand the power that he brings. I don't see the speed. I just don't see the hand speed to be able to touch and compete with a guy like Kopylov, who was also a very high-level guy. It feels to me that in the first couple exchanges of this fight, people are going to be like, oh, like that. I think that Kopylov is just way faster. And a lot of times it's speed that wins these fights. Now, I will say, I have not bet Kopylov yet. He is going to be my pick because I think he's just going to be faster on the feet. The reason I have not bet Kopylov yet, and I might because he's flipped the plus money, but we'll just have to wait and see how my balls feel later in the week. Because we've seen a lot of times these guys touch against these powerful strikers, and it looks like they're having success, and they touch, and they just get a little bit overconfident. And I can definitely see a guy like Kopylov touch, get a little bit overconfident, try to do a little bit too much, and then just get put the fuck out by a high-level, powerful striker like Cesar Almeida. So there's a reason why I haven't bet Kopylov, because I fully respect everything that Cesar Almeida brings into the octagon. If you're betting him, I get it, right? But when it comes down to a pick, when it comes down to a mixed martial art fight, Angelo nailed it. Kopylov might mix in a takedown. He might turn into a Russian wrestler in this fight. Or I think he's just going to have the speed advantage with the kicks, with the hands, with the footwork. Cesar is just kind of a flat-footed, kind of wait to see to find that power shot guy. Maybe he's able to find it, but to me, I think I'm going Kopylov here. I think he's just faster. I think he's just faster, and that's all that matters in a striking match to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the Kopylov side, obviously. I mean, MMA, at a certain point, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter with Poatan. It didn't matter with him. Meaning, it didn't matter. He just came in here knocking people's heads off. MMA experience, no MMA experience, didn't matter. But he literally might be the hardest hitter in the UFC, including heavyweights. And that is just fight-ending, insane one-punch power. As you pointed out, Cesar does have power, but it's not like that. It's not that insane fight-end, just barely connect type power. So then it is just a straight-up kickboxing match inside of a cage, and there are nuances to a cage, like the actual cage itself, and the size of the cage, and the cadence of a cage. And Roman Kopylov, we've seen him shoot a takedown or two if he needs to. So I'm on the Roman side. Jakey Boy's on the Roman side. I fully, totally understand the love for Cesar Almeida, and the logic is there. Kickboxer versus kickboxer, one of these kickboxers is better. If this was a kickboxing match in a ring, Cesar would be the pick, but it's not.
Yeah,
so
let me say too. I talk about the speed, and you know, I don't. It's tough to bring this up as well, but I mean, Cesar Almeida is 36, right? I mean, he's not this young guy. He's not gonna get any faster, right? In my mind, he's not gonna get any. You're not gonna see like a crazy improvement in speed. I know who Roman's gonna be. Caesar's only gonna start slowing down, and I'm not saying he's gonna be looking old in there, but I'm just saying that I mean, he's 36.
Yep. No, we're both on the Kopylov side. I'm going to keep watching that line. He was a favorite. He is now a dog. So I'm going to keep watching that line. And if we end up with a plus sign, if he's a dog at like minus 106, I don't know what he is this minute.
What, Kopylov?
Yeah.
He was plus 100 earlier.
I mean, I'm definitely going to keep watching that.
Plus
then,
102.
Because, yeah, I'm going to keep watching that then. I don't know why all the money's coming in on Cesar.
Everyone bet Cesar for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna pay attention to that for sure. This could also be a weird over 2.5 sloppy type fight too. I doubt it, but you never know. Roman Kopylov is my pick. Roman Kopylov is Jacob's pick. We are going to monitor the line movement tracker, see if we can get better odds and potentially place a bet on him. If you are a premium member, go to your account page, link your Discord. That's how you get alerts to your phone. You will instantly get alerts to your phone anytime we place a bet or do something. If you like it, great. You didn't miss out on the line movement. You got access to it. If you don't like it, that's fine too. The premium member safety parlay is up right now. It is ready to go. You can unlock that and everything else. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member at the top. It is only $10 for an entire month. And before we break down the main card, here's just a reminder of how good the pay-per-view boys are on pay-per-views. Safety parlay does really well on pay-per-views. We're up 7.29 units of net profit on 2024 pay-per-views with a 12% return on your investment if you tailed those bets. I also want to tell you about the $50 promo. We've got a bunch of people I got to pay out in the next couple of days, and you can hop on that line. Just go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use our affiliate links to sign up with any one of our sportsbook partners. Make a deposit, and we send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. They're going to pay me. So you're going to use the link on the website. You're going to make an account. Then they're going to pay me, and I'm going to slice off some of that money and send it right back to you, because if I'm getting paid, you're getting paid. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use the links, make an account. And then finally, here is the P.O. box. For years, people said, I want to send you something. I want to send you something. We opened up the P.O. box, and we've gotten some really cool stuff. We've gotten letters, just letters about this is my betting journey. Here's who I think wins and why. We got a hand-stitched. I have it in my office. I'll do in the Fight Foods. I'll show my office. I thought he was pretending there was a woman there. That's not even a bit. He's just talking to his mother. He's Norman Bates. He is talking to his mother, but she's a skeleton in a chair. That's what you're listening to right now. Somebody sent us a hand-stitched Cheeto Vera jersey. We've had small businesses send us things as well. I've been sent food that was too hot to eat. We've been sent all sorts of really cool stuff. We'll read the letters. We'll open the stuff. This is the address if you want to send something. How long till the pizza gets there? Because we can rush through the rest of these if you're that hungry.
Say what?
I heard you Norman Batesing your mother, so I just didn't know when the pizza was going to get there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you get the Norman?
I'm picking against all. I have picked against all Brazilians.
Do you get the Norman Bates reference? Does anybody in here get that? Am I too old? Even that movie was even before my time, but I get the reference, obviously. Do you know who Norman Bates is? Jesus Christ.
No.
From Psycho. His mother was a skeleton, and he would talk to her and brush her hair, and that's what you were just doing. Opening up the UFC 302 main card, we have Randy Brown taking on Elizeu Zaleski. We got Randy Brown at 18-5 in his entire career. He is 4-1 in his last 5. He is riding back-to-back wins. He's taking on Elizeu Zaleski. He's 24-7 in his career. 3-1-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that draw with Rinat Fakhretdinov. And that draw was spectacular to watch because Elizeu was losing that fight. He even got dropped in that fight. And then all of a sudden, third round comes around, and he beat the piss out of Rinat Fakhretdinov. Beat the piss out of him, worked in a 10-8, and was able to force a draw. And if it does anything, it just shows you how insanely tough Elizeu Zaleski is. Overall, skill-wise, solid striker, very real power. He is athletic. He can be dangerous on the ground. He's a busy guy, active striking style. He's constantly moving. I mentioned the power. I mentioned the athleticism. We know he's tough as hell. We know he has some cardio. He is aging, right? He's getting a little older. But he's very tough, very dangerous, and never out of a fight, as we just saw. He is taking on the much younger and longer Randy Brown. This guy's a good, long striker who uses his range really well. He is nuts tall for this weight class. He takes advantage of that. He uses long jabs. He uses kicks. He will keep you at bay. Then when he's ready, he'll use that speed to just swoop in there with solid boxing exchanges. He does have takedowns as well. He has 9 takedowns in the UFC, and while he's not constantly shooting, he does have some nice trips and then some really solid jiu-jitsu when it gets to the mat. He's very good. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's coming off the knockout win over another
You don't want me to sing?
I had it as background music.
Oh, like a soundtrack? I was singing for Amberly in the Amberly. Do you like that song? Amberly Rose? She's in the
I don't know who Amberly Rose is, but I assume the women in the chat are not actual women.
I don't give a fuck. Amberly,
the profile picture is
just catfish the fuck out of me. I don't.
Yeah.
There's my Instagram. I'll send you all sorts of cash. You don't have to do anything for it. I'll just fucking take care of you.
I am curious to see if you get some DMs now from women. This should be an interesting fight, though. And my gut reaction when I saw this on paper was like, oh, Randy Brown safety parlay. And I was just like, because Elizeu Zaleski's old as shit. Hold on. That's not the pick. That was my gut reaction. My instant reaction.
Disrespect to my Brazilian
I'm
brother
not
right
done.
now.
You haven't even picked one to win yet. I'm not.
Well,
yeah.
hold on tight here.
That was my gut reaction. Then a little tape study, a little investigative journalism, and it's like, yeah, all right, Zaleski is tough as shit. And Randy Brown is very good, but he's not aggressive. He's not a killer. He's not going to go out there. He's not going to come looking for a fight. He'll work his way. He'll stay rangy. But if a Zaleski stays in his face and brings it to him, there could be some trouble there. I am still picking Randy Brown. He is still the pick. But instead of being this confident, I'm now this confident. Not because of Randy's skill. I'm not souring on his skills. Just Zaleski is so tough. Zaleski is durable. Zaleski is a guy that is going to stay in your face. He is, however, 37 years old. He's probably older than that in fight years. But here's a little fun tidbit for you, Jakey boy.
Here we go.
I don't have stats on it. No, this is actually important to know. I don't have stats on it, but I was having a conversation with the guy that developed the artificial intelligence for us. We used to call him Pick Doctor. And I was just talking about some more data we want and like, what's the next evolution of the artificial intelligence and can it do round lines and all this other stuff. And he was like, what's interesting is he's like, I'm looking at the data. We're analyzing the data. I'm having the AI like adjust to the data because that's what it does every time he loads, it keeps learning. He said, all of a sudden, USADA's gone and all these old ass fighters have been far more successful. And the AI is already noticing that and adjusting. So these 38-year-olds, these 40-year-olds that just last year, during USADA, the younger fighter won like 63% of the time. If the only thing you ever did was pick the younger fighter, you were correct 63% of the time. Now, USADA's gone. That's no longer the case. Just a little fun fact. We don't have data on that. We're still looking at it, all this other bullshit, but just a nice little tidbit. Why don't you go ahead and tell us why you think the older fighter is going to win?
Eu tenho
No.
Eu
Unless you're going to do Hakuna Matata.
Eu corta a batata. Você cozinha a batata. Você frita a batata. Você come batata. Você now baby batata.
Yeah.
You're now baby batata. You don't drink the potato, Angelo. Come on. Listen,
Yeah,
my Brazilian brother here, Zaleski, I tell you, is going to win this fight. I mean, he's going to win this fight. And Randy Rude Boy Brown, I believe, is definitely a dangerous guy. Probably in the first round. I think his power and his danger is a little bit overrated. If he can find a shot with that length, when you're a big guy like that at 170, he's probably like a 185 or fight at 170. If you connect, you're probably going to be able to knock out anybody in the division, but I think his power is a little bit overrated. And we saw Zaleski against Renat get fucking smoked in that first round. I mean, he got dropped bad. And guess what? The guy just survived. I mean, he's a tough son of a bitch, this dude Zaleski. He is a tough son of a bitch. Not only did he survive, but he worked himself back into that fight versus Renat. Renat, probably wasn't wrestling as much as he probably should have. He was trying to strike with this guy Zaleski, who was a dangerous striker, and eventually Zaleski was able to land that body shot, hurt Renat, and nearly finished him in that fight. Was able to get the 10-8, like Angelo mentioned, to get that draw. He's a tough son of a bitch. I will say this. Randy, if he is not going to get that first-round knockout, which I don't believe against Zaleski, is live. I just don't think is live. Like, he did get dropped against Renat. Renat's a fucking hard-hitting dude who came with a nice shot, because you have to be worried about the wrestling. So you see a lot of these wrestlers, right? They can level change, they throw that overhand right, and it confuses, and they sneak those shots in, and it's when you try to worry about the takedown defense, those shots can be able to sneak in. Randy's just going to be tall and long. He's going to be able to strike. I don't think that the first-round knockout's going to be live versus Zaleski. So now you have to look at it as a 3-round fight. In my opinion, Randy Brown lost that fight to Wellington. I thought he lost that fight to Wellington, which was a mostly striking matchup. The reason why I thought he lost that fight was because later in the fight, I just didn't think he was doing enough. And guess what? Against Zaleski, if you're not doing enough, you're going to lose the fight. Zaleski is probably going to be the pressure fighter. He's shown that he can take a shot. He can carry some sort of power through 3 rounds. I will say this, because I know, right, lock of the week, right? I'm very in tune with what the public dog is. And I agree, it was Cesar Almeida, so much that he flipped to the favorite. But when I'm reaching out, when I'm reading stuff online about the underdogs and lock of the week and who should be lock of the week, everybody is all over my Brazilian brother Zaleski. There's no doubt about that. And if you go to we1picks.com and you become a premium member for $10 a month, you will see that I have also bet Zaleski. I picked him. I bet him. I like him as a dog, but I will say a little bit of caution for those that want to load up, because I didn't load up as much as I wanted to. Zaleski is 37, and if you watch him now compared to where he was even a few years ago, you can definitely tell he is slowing down. His speed is not quite what it was. So this fight could be a lot closer than people think as far as picking a dog in Zaleski. Because I think a lot of people think, Zaleski's going to knock him out. I think it's probably going to be a decision fight. It's going to be a close fight. I trust Zaleski more than I do Randy Brown in a close fight. He's a fucking dog, this dude Zaleski. He understood he was losing that fight versus Renat. He found a way to work back in. He is going to be my pick. I did bet him. He is going to win because he is my Brazilian brother. I just want to be a little bit cautious as far as like loading up, but I bet him. So he's going to be my pick.
There you go. I get it. I still.
Muito bom.
I'm obviously on the
Ciao.
Buona noche. I'm obviously on the. I'm obviously on the Randy.
Say boa?
Poha.
No, boa?
Boa.
Say boa. Say noite.
Boa noite.
That's pretty good. I think you can come down and visit me.
Thanks so much. I've been hearing other languages my entire life. English. Did you know this? Italian was my first language. And then I had trouble in school because I didn't speak English. So then my father was like, cut the shit. And they overcorrected. And they just eliminated Italian.
Poor guy.
I was the dumb kid. Not anymore. Not anymore. I'm obviously on the Randy Brown side. I do think length, youth, all of that will matter here. But I do agree with you where Zaleski's the more dangerous of the two, for sure. But Randy Brown is going to be the pick. I think he'll outlast, outlong.
You want to bet on this one?
I'll bet you.
Did you make a deposit yet? Because let's see how much I've got in my bet openly right now.
Yeah, it's all my money.
$1,300 or something like that.
Yeah, I'll bet you. If you do want to unlock Jacob's bet on this fight, all the other bets, do I have a Randy Brown bet? What the hell bet did I just place? I just placed the bet today.
I got $1,500 in here.
I don't. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's only $10 an entire month. You will unlock the picks, the bets, the round line leans, the tools, and everything else you ever wanted or needed heading into Fight Week.
And guys, if you haven't liked the stream already, if you don't mind liking it.
That's free.
And I tell people on the live stream all the time, and I know Angela doesn't like to mention it, but I have linked the likes to my vibrating panties. So every time you like this, whoa, there's a big spike right there. I appreciate that, guys.
Sure. Yeah, huge spike. I hear it creaking.
Here we go.
Next up,
that video.
Next up at UFC 302, we have a hotly contested, hotly debated fight. We have a couple of heavyweight grapplers looking. Well, Romanov did just win, so not looking to get back on track, but looking for a win. Let's put it that way. We got Jailton Almeida taking on Alexandr Romanov. Jailton Almeida, 20-3 in his career. He is 4-1 in his last 5. He is coming off his first UFC loss. Taking on Alexandr Romanov, 17-2 in his career, 3-2 in his last. 3-2 in his last 5, coming off that bounce back win over a now unemployed, actually no, he's in PFL, Blagoy Ivanov.
I think he just won the $1 million.
Blagoy. So we got Jailton Almeida. And there's two camps for Jailton Almeida. There are no reasonable, logical people when it comes to Jailton Almeida. There's the, Jacob and I are in completely separate camps here. There's the, he's a phenomenal grappler. I think he's that dude, and he just had a 20-second lapse in judgment in his last fight. Or there's, he's a fraud, he's a bum, he sucks. Those are the only two camps. There is nobody in the middle of Jailton Almeida. I am on the, I think he's the real deal side. This dude has proven to be a savage beast of a wrestler. He has proven it many, many, many times over. He can take down anybody, including the best heavyweight wrestler. He just took down Curtis Blades 9 times. Does Jailton's control suck? Yeah, it sucks. But his cardio doesn't. And he took down Curtis Blades 9 times. He ragdolled Curtis Blades, just tossed his ass around, did whatever he wanted to do to him. Then he did have a 20-second lapse of judgment. He was hanging onto the leg a little too long and just basically got the side of his head beat in until he lost.
He did what now? Can you do that?
Let me
do that motion again. I don't mind.
I think Jailton Almeida is the real deal. And I think it's going to be a problem for Alexandr Romanov because Alexandr Romanov 2 years ago was the real deal. 2 years ago, Alexandr Romanov looked like this picture. Basically a six-pack. Big beast of a guy. Basically Brock Lesnar without all the extracurricular needles. And he would come forward and he would shoot whatever takedowns he needed to shoot. He would blow right through people. But then he got into a tough fight against a good wrestler in Juan Espino. Didn't look great in that fight. Then he fought looking like this. Look at that.
That's the ideal. How can you say, look at that? Take your shirt off and that's you.
I look better than that. For sure. Okay. No. I look better than that. Either way.
You got a dangly nipple ring in right now? I saw
nipple ring was
shine.
Ripped out. There is no nipple ring in right
now. A little
now.
Italian flag hanging off that thing.
The boxing glove. I used to have the Italian boxing glove hanging from my mirror. Jeez. Anyway, I know. It was so douchey with very gelled hair. All the things. Either way. Jacob, somebody said, can you turn up your mic? And I do notice anytime I edit these videos, you're quieter than I am.
If you hear me before you see me, I got King Kong in the trunk. King Kong, King.
Alexandr Romanov at one point looked like he was going to be that guy. And then he got tired and quit. When he fought Marcin Tybura, he got tired and quit. It was at elevation, but they were both fighting at elevation. Not just one of them. They both fought at elevation. Then
There was a majority decision.
Then he got absolutely smoked by Alexander Volkov. Literally landed 0 punches, significant or otherwise. And then he had a nice bounce back win against Bulgoy Ivanov. The question would always be, the last couple of years, what's Alexander going to look like? And people would be chatting in the Discord. He's jacked. He's fat. He's jacked. He's fat. He looks good. Oh, he looks terrible. And people didn't know what to do. Problem is, at least for me, he actually looks like he's in good shape right now. Dumbest haircut I've ever seen. But he looks like he's in shape for this camp. I still think Jailton Almeida wins. As a wrestler, I think, and it has been proven, I mean, he looks like Franks and Beans.
That
Franks
looks
and
like
Beans. Franks and Beans. I wouldn't mind some Franks and Beans, frankly. But Jailton Almeida can take down anybody. He has proven that multiple times over. I think he takes down Romanov. I think Romanov gets taken down and is absolutely fucking clueless when he does. He will get taken down. He will get tossed around. It'll feel like nothing has happened to him in a cage before, and he will be clueless and out of sorts. I think Jailton Almeida runs through this freaking dog. I think Jailton Almeida runs through Alexandr Romanov, and I'm very confident in that. Jakey boy. Let's hear the other side.
Why'd the line move, Angelo?
Because I don't know. Hey, all right. There's a lot of idiots in this world. There's probably more idiots than non-idiots. Would you agree?
I think that most of our community is pretty sharp. A lot of people in this live chat. I think Amberly Rose is sharp as can be.
Okay. Outside of those.
If you hear me before you see me, I got King Kongs in the trunk. You understand? If you hear me
I get it.
before you see me, I got King Kong in the trunk. We're talking about King Kong, Alexandr Romanov here. You want to talk about? Oh, look at this guy! Can't even listen to the breakdown, huh? This guy is so scared to hear the fucking truth. He took the headphones out and walked away because I have been telling you guys for years upon years that Jailton Almeida is a fucking fraud. This guy was at 205, realized, oh my God, there's actual athletes at 205. There's people that know how to strike and defend takedowns at 205. So what am I going to do? I'm going to gain a few pounds, go to heavyweight, and start taking down these fat slobs that have never tried to defend a takedown in their life. And that's exactly what he was doing for quite a while. Then he ran up against Curtis Blades, and he was able to get some takedowns in the first round.
Him.
Right?
Ragdoll.
Angelo, how'd that fight in, sweetheart?
So what?
So what? The guy got stuffed on one takedown because he's not a finisher, right? He can finish these slobs, but he couldn't finish somebody that knows what they're doing on the ground. He doesn't have ground and pound. He's got okay submissions. It went to the second round. One of the takedowns got a little bit tough. He hung on it too long, was getting beat on the side of the head, but he's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Should I back up? I can't back up because I don't know how to fucking strike. I gotta hang on this guy's fucking legs because if I leave this situation, I'm gonna lose the fight. And guess what? He got his head beat in, went to the ground, and you want to talk about losing a fight? He fucking lost a fight versus the only wrestler he's ever fought. Now he's fighting this guy, Alexandr Romanov, who coming into the UFC was supposed to be the next big guy. He was the dominant wrestler, the dominant grappler, the Naga champion from all over the fucking world. This guy was the dominant guy, was showing the most dominant. Then he fights Tybura. Right? Was dominating that fight. Got tired. Elevation. It happens. He didn't quit. It went to a decision. He lost a majority decision. Then he fights 6'12" Volkov, who put a size 20 foot in his fucking belly button a couple times, and it hurt a little bit. Right? Hurt a little bit. Went to the ground, couldn't complete that fight. Bounced back against Blagoy with a great game plan. People want to talk about Blagoy. Oh, he's not in the UFC anymore. Guess what? He knew that the takedowns were going to be tough against Blagoy, so guess what he did? He just fucking struck with them. He just fucking outstruck him, got takedowns late. You want to talk about people like Ansel was like, he's about to go throw up. Ansel about to go throw up. He can't even listen to this. He's like, oh my God, I bet Jailton now. He came against Blagoy, and people want to talk about the gas tank of Romanov. He went tit for tat, striking for 15 minutes. Watch how that fight ended against Blagoy. Muscled a takedown on top with the King Kong fucking punches. You better fucking pray to God that Jailton Almeida not only gets takedowns in the first round, but gets takedowns in the second round and gets takedowns in the third round. And you better pray to God that this dude Jailton doesn't take a half-ass bad shot in the first round. Because if Romanov, with his wrestling and judo acumen, right, he's great at these fucking hip tosses. He's great at these fucking, if he gets on you, he can throw you. He's a big fucking actual heavyweight. Because if Jailton takes a half-ass bad shot, telegraph shot, which he is known to do time and time again, just dive at the legs, and all of a sudden, Romanov ends up on top of this guy early in the fight. Woo! Woo, woo, woo! It's going to be bad news. And if you watch Jailton in that Contender Series fight, that's exactly what happened early in that fight. He took a diving shot. The guy flipped him over, and he was able to withstand that situation. But if Romanov does that, flips this dude on his back, fresh Romanov, this dude Jailton is in bad trouble, and you're going to be seeing him eating veggies to get back to 205 to fight those dudes because he is not going to be in the heavyweight division anymore. This guy Romanov is the best wrestler and grappler he's ever fought. I think he's going to come in, weather whatever ridiculous storm Jailton has, and then take over. Romanov is going to win this fight. I've told you that Jailton was a fucking fraud. He proved to be a fraud, and he is going to double down and prove it against Romanov. Romanov rolls.
Okay, that was a lot of hot air, an insane amount of hot air. I think. Tell me this dumbass dog wants to go back out. Here's a bet for you, Jacob. Loser of this fight has to wear Joey's cone for the next fight.
What?
You know, Joey's got a cone on his head. But I'm not going to be wearing the cone.
Is this like some weird kink?
He's got the cone on his head.
You want me to wear a cone? You want me to walk? You want to walk me around your house?
Yeah. The loser of this fight has to wear a cone for the entire Kevin Holland fight. Okay? Fun, easy bet.
Kevin Holland fight? I'm going to be
That's
streaming.
the next fight. No, you're coming over.
I'm not coming over.
Yeah, you are. That's stupid not to.
Well, I'm not. So this bet doesn't really work. So.
Well, then you will wear the cone on the next breakdown we do the whole fucking time. Talking through the cone.
That's a 50-50 bet, and I've got a plus 300 underdog.
Look who's nervous. All that ranting. Plus 200. Listen, I think it's all bullshit. Of course, if he ends up on top. But you've just eliminated the concept of Romanov on his back. That just isn't a reality in your weird breakdown world. Jailton Almeida will take him down. He has taken down every single human being he's even attempted to take down. He's never not taken him down. The difference between Curtis Blaydes and Romanov is Curtis Blaydes is not a quitter. We've seen Alexandr Romanov struggle at times. Curtis Blaydes has insane one-punch knockout power. Alexandr Romanov does not.
And by the way, Romanov is a much better striker in this matchup.
Of course. Of course. But it doesn't matter. It does not matter. It does not matter.
This dude, Jailton Almeida, is just like Vitor Petrino, right? When it's easy, it's going to look easy. But the second something gets hard, the second they get frustrated, there's a reason why he ran to the fucking heavyweight division. This guy wants easy. If it's easy, it's easy. The second it gets hard.
Only applying that logic to one side of this fight, and it makes no sense that you're doing that. It's fine. You're on the Romanov side. I'm on the Almeida side. One of us will leave the night being tall and correct, and the other one will not.
The Moldovo murderer.
I will spend the $9,100 in DraftKings because Jailton Almeida, even in his loss to Curtis Blaydes, scored an insane amount of points because that's who that guy is. He puts up the points. He comes forward. He ragdolls people, tosses them around. He has only looked like a human being for 20 seconds. 20 seconds he's looked like a human being. 20 seconds. And he's a fraud because he had a 20-second lapse of judgment. Fraud. just completely ignoring the 5 minutes of complete domination against the guy that's getting a title shot. Against the guy that's getting a title shot. 5 minutes of complete domination just out the window, completely ignored. And that's what's flawed with your logic. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's $10 a month. You can see the conflicting bets. Do you have bet on Romanov, or it's just all hot air?
Oh, I'm waiting to this line get back up to
hot air.
minus
Got
400
it.
for
No,
sure.
no, got it.
Romanov inside the distance will be played. There's no doubt about that.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. If you want to see that bet when it comes in, become a premium member. It's only $10 a month. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member, and then link your Discord so that as soon as Jacob places that bet, you can hop on if you agree. You can just put your phone back down if you don't. I understand. I understand people thinking Jailton might lose. I completely disagree with the fraud law. He's not a fraud. He's proven to not be a fraud. He's beaten the piss out of everybody.
The second he had
He
one
even
takedown
beat the
stop,
piss
he
out of the
lost.
guy that that's a different argument. That's a different argument than he's a fraud. He doesn't need to be.
He literally had no backup. There's no
He
game.
doesn't
There's no
need-
plan B. There's no plan.
Fine.
He's just on the legs, getting hit in the head. It's like, oh no, I can't do anything else. I got to stay here and just get.
He
fucking
doesn't
hammer
need
fist
anything
in the
else.
fucking side of the head.
He doesn't need anything else to win this specific fight is the point that I'm making. He can win this exact fight. If he didn't get not even a lick better from his last fight, he wins this fight.
Oh my god.
WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. Next up, at UFC 302, we have the featured fight of the evening. We have Kevin Holland stepping up on short notice, as he has been known to do, to take on Michal Oleksichuk. I got there. Kevin Holland, 25-11. And while there's a lot of losses in there, he is a guy that has stepped up on short notice multiple times. He's bounced between weight classes. And for a guy that has never... I don't think he's ever cracked the top 5 in rankings. I don't know if he's cracked the top 10, but for a guy that hasn't been that highly ranked, he has fought a lot of very good people over the last couple of years. He's taken on Michal Oleksichuk. Michal Oleksichuk is 19-7 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that loss to Michel Pereira, where he was just absolutely bodied. And this should be a fun fight because Kevin Holland is always in fun fights. As we know, he's a long, rangy, pinpoint accurate striker with speed and just literal laser pinpoint accuracy. His wrestling sucks. We have seen a couple of random takedowns out of him out of nowhere, especially when he broke his hand in that Wonderboy fight. He took Wonderboy down. The wrestling is not great, but the striking is very good, and so is the jiu-jitsu. Taking him down might be easy to do, but once you take him down, you're not necessarily safe. I don't know if that's going to happen in this fight because he's taking on Michal Oleksichuk. And Michal is a striker. All gas, no brakes, comes at you, ton of pressure early. He will fade, but a ton of pressure early. He will stay in your face. He has 6 knockouts in 7 UFC wins. And while he is dangerous on the feet, he does have tremendous grappling holes. If Kevin Holland decided to wrestle in this fight, he could have an enormous amount of success wrestling in this fight. If he decides to strike in this fight, he could also have success striking in this fight. I do like Kevin Holland here. I do like Kevin Holland at middleweight better than welterweight. He did just lose to Michael Venom Page. Pretty one-sided fight there. And I don't think weight was a factor. I just think that wildly awkward, I mean, you watched that at my house, right? Just that wild, awkward speed and timing from Venom was a problem for Kevin Holland, but that's not what he's going to get here. What he will get is a guy running at him full speed, and then Kevin will step off. Kevin will land when he needs to land. Kevin is insanely durable, has a great chin on him. He ate that spinning back elbow directly to the face. Ate it. I don't think Michal has anything for Kevin Holland. I love Kevin Holland here. I think he gets it done. What do you think, Jakey Bangalots?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the breakdown. I think that this was set up for Kevin Holland to. I mean, the UFC loves Kevin Holland, right? I mean, he was a guy that stepped up. He saved the card. They pay him well. They gave him, Jack Della Maddalena, and that was probably closer than people thought that it would have been. And then he steps up. He fights MVP for the UFC. So the UFC, I think, is like, all right, here's Michal. Michal, to his credit, is a tough dude. He's definitely a dangerous guy early. But if you take away the kind of the first round finish from Michal, this is kind of like the Randy Brown and Zaleski breakdown, right? If you take out the first round finish, which I don't think Brandy Brown's going to finish Zaleski in the first round. I don't think McCall's going to finish Kevin Holland in the first round. Then it becomes just another fight and a volume fight. And Kevin Holland at 185 should be able to land the shots in the volume against McCall. And this is like, to Kevin Holland, the UFC probably set this up for you to win. Featured fight, pay-per-view, they like you. If you want to continue to get paid, if you want to continue to be on these pay-per-view main cards, you got to win this one. Right? Because if you win this one, it's going to be a hard sell against anybody else. But if you win this one, then you can get another big fight. They'll put you. You can still be that name against other names and still be getting paid. But if you're losing 3 in a row and the last fight is to this guy McCall on a featured fight on the pay-per-view, it's like it's gonna be a tough sell. So if you're Kevin Holland at 185, you should be feeling good. It should be a fight that you should win. I bet him. You know, he's going to be my pick, so he should roll. We'll see.
I have money on Kevin Holland as well. I do think he wins. And McCall is a killer be killed kind of guy, and Kevin Holland can finish. He absolutely has finishing power. He can finish people. That $9,000 in DraftKings might be worth it. You going to spend that money?
It's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, MVP, It's funny because there's a clip circulating now again of the MVP fight where MVP literally knocked him out and held him up, which is pretty insane. Like literally, like that step-in shot, and you see Kevin Holland's legs like wobble, and that's when Venom Page literally grabs him, holds him for a second, and then just like kind of like lays him to the ground gently. It's pretty funny, but yeah, this is not MVP.
Nope, I completely agree with you. We are both on the Kevin Holland side. This is one of the easier breakdowns that we've done tonight. If you do want to check out the bets, I do have some bets here. Jacob does as well. The picks and everything else, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It is only $10 for an entire month, and that month will get you from UFC 302 all the way to UFC 303. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Couple of super chats. I missed this one, Riffraff. My bad. He said Jacob is owning the Almeida versus Romanov breakdown better than the Celtics owned the Pacers.
Pacers are, by the way, going to easily win in 9. I don't know if anybody's keeping track of
just
that.
waiting for those extra games.
I can't believe that, dude. I don't know if you probably don't know the situation, but they got
I would
swept.
check yeah, I saw they got swept. I would just check the score.
They
all the
were
time.
winning late in the fourth quarter in 3 of the fucking games.
They gave him up.
One game, they had a 97% chance to win with like 10 seconds to go. Another game with 2 minutes to go, they had a 93% chance to win. And then another game, they had a 90% chance to win with like 4 or 5 minutes to go. They blew them all. It was actually the sixth. I think it was the 6th or 7th closest series ever in a sweep.
That is unfortunate. I would just wake up and see the score just to be like, oh, did you? Because I could give a fuck. But I was rooting for you,
night
obviously.
I was watching it for the one, and they were up again, and I was like, here we go again. And sure as shit, they fucking blew it. They just start like just throwing the ball into the crowd. It was like, what's going on, guys? It was like, it's crazy.
They said this will be the first, I think either the first time ever or the first time in an amazing amount of time if both sides sweep heading to the finals.
Well, the game's on right now. Did the Mavs win? I don't know.
If they sweep, it'll be like, I don't remember if it was the first time ever or almost the first time ever. Then Gucci Gill says, off topic, sorry, $5 super chat. I just had a shitty sparring session.
Oh my God, it's a 1-point game with 5 minutes to go. We got to hurry.
Okay. A shit sparring session. Has this happened to you? Any advice? Kind of pissed me off. Yeah, of course. Of course. That is unbelievably normal. There's guys I train with consistently that one day I'll just do whatever the hell I want. And then the next day, same guy, same everything. I can't do anything. I can't make anything work. I can't make it. There you go. So yeah, that's 100% normal. And you need the bad days. You need the nail days. Like you need, if every session is a great session, you're not training with the right people. So you need the bad days. So totally 100%
you don't lose, you
insanely
learn.
Normal. Well, no, you lose, but you need to lose.
Oh, cat for 3.
Tiff just texted me, please get Scout. It's like, no, I just kicked his ass out of my office, so no. Next up, at UFC 302, we have the co-main event of the evening. We have former world champion Sean Strickland taking on former world champion challenger Paulo Costa. Oh, bless you. Is it the ragweed? Fucking nerd. I said this to my neighbor Tell me if
I
you...
said that we need to hurry because this. I mean,
We're not
and
gonna
then
get through
here
two
comes the
fights in
neighbor
5
story.
minutes.
So everyone's
No,
settling.
I said that. So I have no allergies. I haven't sneezed in at least 25 years. I have no allergies at all, but I have trash vision.
You're the guy that was like, I don't get sick,
Excuse
and
me.
then for like 3 months, the last 3 months, you were sick.
Then my daughters have terrible allergy, perfect vision. Tiffany has allergies, perfect vision. Neighbors, perfect vision, allergies. The other neighbor, no allergies, trash vision. Nobody has both. There's not anybody with great vision and no allergies. Doesn't happen. Name one. You have bad vision and allergies.
I don't have allergies.
I just heard it. I just heard an allergy.
Can we
I'll let
go?
you think.
What are we doing right now? We're at the co-main event. It's almost 10 o'clock.
We got Sean Strickland taking on Paulo Costa. Sean Strickland just 6 months ago was the middleweight world champion. And he got there with just meat and potato striking. He is 28-6 in his career. He is 3-2 in his last 5. Coming off the loss to Dricus du Plessis. Taking on Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa is 14-3 in his career. 2-3 in his last 5. All 3 of those losses are in his last 5. Coming off that close loss to Robert Whittaker. This is going to be a very fun fight. I'm very excited for this. This is like really what's kind of holding this pay-per-view together. I think the main event's going to be a blowout. But this is a very interesting fight. Huh? This is a very interesting fight. Because Sean Strickland has built an entire career off one thing. He is just Philly shell moving forward. Philly shell moving forward. Defend a takedown, move forward. Philly shell, move forward. Shell? No. And he's just going to move forward. He's going to... And that's what he does. He's got a pretty good chin outside of Alex Pereira, but okay, that's going to happen. He does not have a ton of power. I fully understand he dropped Israel Adesanya, but that was the rarity. He's not a big power, one-punch kind of guy. He does have enough cardio, and he's mastered that Philly shell style. He can do that for a week and a half and not get tired. But we did just see that he doesn't back up well. And a lot of people scream and yell, and Sean Strickland won that fight, and Dricus did nothing with the takedowns, and blah, blah, blah. And regardless of how you feel, I think we all need to look at that and understand that he doesn't fight nearly as well backing up as he does moving forward. And that might be interesting here because Paulo Costa moves forward. Paulo Costa's a guy. And he has had a lot of hot and cold spots in the last couple of years. He's had more canceled fights than actual fights. He's had 5 canceled fights and only 2 actual fights in the last 3 years. And this is the quickest turnaround he's had in a very long time. And I think that's a great thing. Because even in that first round of the Robert Whittaker fight, where he had not fought in several years, he almost won that fight. He dropped Robert Whittaker. And if there were 10 more seconds, he might have won that fight.
Oh, he didn't drop him.
Yeah, right. He didn't technically fall, but that cage held him up. And if there were 10 more seconds, he might have gotten it done. But the point being, that was a rusty 2-year-away Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa's insanely good. He's got great, powerful striking. He is a grappler that doesn't use his grappling. He's good everywhere, but he has almost skipped. Like, he had that title fight. All right, first, he had an all-time war with, who's the Cuban wrestler?
Yoel.
He had the all-time war with Yoel. Phenomenal fight. Unbelievable fight. Great cardio. All-time war with Yoel. Gets the title shot. Shows up hungover because he drank a bottle of wine, gets finished and spanked. Ever since then, he's like, I'm the fun guy. I'm just going to come out here. I'm going to have fun. He's funny on social media. He's fun in the cage. He almost skipped the part of his career where he was like, I'm going to earn and go for a belt. Where Sean Strickland has been the same guy for a while. When he started his career at 170 pounds, he was a wrestler. He then converted to this Philly shell striker. He does have the wrestling. He just doesn't use it. I think Sean Strickland wins this fight, but I do think these odds are wide because if Paulo Costa moves forward the same way he did when he fought Yoel, Paulo Costa can have that same success that Dricus did, except Paulo Costa hits way harder and is just going to stay in your face, and he's far more athletic than Dricus is. That spinning back heel kick that blasted Robert Whittaker, this could be a really fun fight. I'm looking forward to it. I do think Sean Strickland wins. I think he'll weather early storms and just march forward and wear him down, and get it done. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, that was my lock of the week. One of the only rare lock of the week misses in 2024. We won 7 of, I don't know what that was, but we won 7 of our last 9. We're up almost 7-8 units on the year. So you can all you want, but I think one thing is doing better than something else. And, he was my lock of the week, and I got real excited that first round. He lands that kick. I'm feeling good. He lost the second round. The thing that really fucking pissed me off was that was a winnable fight going into the third round. It was 1-1. He was pressuring, right? He was pressuring Robert Whittaker, and he just wasn't doing anything with the pressure. And there's nothing I fucking hate more than when I watch fighters with empty pressure that are just stalking and stalking and stalking, but they're not fucking doing anything. And he even said after the fight, I thought I did enough in that third round. I thought I was pressuring. You didn't. You didn't fucking do enough. Throw a few more fucking punches in that third round and you're going to win that fight. In my opinion, Paulo Costa is a guy that beats and probably smokes number 6 through whatever, 20, 50, whatever it is. He is well-rounded. He's a tough dude. He's got good cardio, especially for the way that he fights. But against the top 5, I don't think he beats anybody in the top 5. He doesn't really have fight-changing power. His power is a little bit overrated. Even when he landed that spinning wheel kick against Robert Whittaker, he followed it up with a couple shots that almost just kind of woke Robert back up. It wasn't like these big shots that dropped Robert. He's landed plenty of shots on a lot of people and really doesn't hurt people. Even against fucking, what's his name? Your boy, the wrestler in that high elevation. What's his the Rockhold?
Luke Rockhold.
He's fucking just lighting this chinny dude up and still can't even finish this guy. He's got overrated power. He's not technical enough to beat technical strikers, which Sean Strickland is a very technical striker. And he doesn't really have the crazy grappling and wrestling. He's got everything. He's got decent power. He's decent technical. He's got decent cardio. He's got decent wrestling, and he can beat most people that aren't top 5 guys. But every time he is fighting these top 5 guys, he just falls short because he doesn't have that one thing that he's great at. What is Paulo Costa great at, Angelo?
Looking.
Fantastic, right? Great looking guy, great body. But there's just nothing you say he's really good at this. And when you're in the top 5, to be a championship level guy, you have to have that next level. You have to have that next level. Sean Strickland is a super technical guy. He out-technique and out-technical a guy like Izzy. You have to have that thing that you're really, really good at. And I believe that Paulo Costa probably is going to walk down Sean Strickland. But he's not going to have the volume that DDP brought. He's not going to have the takedowns that DDP brought. And Sean Strickland eventually is going to flip that script. Remember, this is a 5-round fight. Right? So Paulo Costa could come in, steal the first 2 rounds, but then Sean Strickland's going to flip that script, have a little bit more pressure, right? They have a great game plan there with Nick, what's his name, right? I just don't see. I like Paulo. He was a former lock of the week, but I think against these top 5 guys, he just doesn't have that next gear to be able to beat him. He doesn't have that fight-changing power. And against Sean Strickland, if you can't knock him out, he's going to be there, and he's probably just going to out-volume you. And I think it's just going to be Sean Strickland just busting up the face of Paulo Costa with that jab for 25 minutes. And I can see Sean Strickland winning 4 or 5 rounds and winning this fight. I'm pretty confident in Sean Strickland.
Yeah, I'm not as confident as you, but obviously I do think he wins. I think the cardio is a factor for sure. Paulo Costa is also hilarious online. That guy's fantastic. So I'm rooting for him. I hope
he just drops the N-word, no problem, nobody
cares. Yeah, nobody
Not
cares.
even just the A. The ER as well. And it's like
crazy.
Jesus.
It is crazy. But he's a ton of fun to watch fight. He's never been in a boring fight. He has fought 5 rounds multiple times. His cardio sucks. I don't know why people say his cardio sucks. His cardio does not suck. Yeah, especially not built the way that he's built. It's crazy.
And he's a guy too that even if he does get tired, he's not a fucking quitter. Paulo Costa is not a quitter.
He's a man. Yeah. No, this should be I am very much so looking forward to this fight. I don't think there's a single outcome that would surprise me other than like Sean Strickland shooting a takedown and submitting Paulo Costa. Outside of that, I don't think there's an outcome that would surprise me. This is a great fight. I am looking forward to it. If you do want to check out all our picks, our bets, our round line leans, the artificial intelligence, and more, just go to wewantpicks.com, click become a member at the top. It is only $10 for an entire month's worth of access. Next up, at UFC 302, we have the main event of the evening. We have Dustin Poirier trying to win an official world championship before he retires, and he's taking on Islam Makhachev. This is not an easy fight for Dustin, but it's not an easy fight for Islam either. We just watched Dustin Poirier get slapped around for 5 minutes just to come back out and win that fight with a nasty right hook. We got Islam Makhachev 25-1 in his career. 5-0 in his last 5. He is riding a 13-fight win streak. Taking on Dustin the Diamond Poirier, 30-8 in his career. He is 3-2 in his last 5. He is alternating wins and losses. We know who Islam is by now. He's basically Khabib, and I'm going to say Khabib 2.0, maybe 1.5. He's better than Khabib. He's got better striking.
The good comparison that Bilal made, I think it was Bilal, said that Khabib is like Michael Jordan, and Islam is like LeBron. And we all know that LeBron is much better than Michael Jordan. So
he's the next evolution. Yeah, and actually, how many times did Khabib defend the title? Islam might have already passed him with title defenses, right? Didn't Khabib not defend really?
3.
Yeah.
Connor, Dustin, and Justin, right? Is that the only 3?
I think so. It wasn't that many, considering he's universally known as the most dominant fighter of all time. But Islam Makhachev is Khabib. He's got the Khabib wrestling, but he also has very good clean striking. We saw that in both the Alexandr Volkanovski fights. Obviously, the first fight was much closer. He did get officially dropped in that fight, which wasn't a great look, but he gutted through it. He had some success as well. And then obviously in the second fight, he finished him on the feet. Nasty wrestler, improving striking, dangerous grappling. He ran through Charles Oliveira. That fight wasn't even close. And Charles is, as most people think, and officially one of the most dangerous guys in the division. Taking on Dustin Poirier. As we all know, Dustin is a dog. He's not a quitter. He's not a pussy. This guy is a dog. He just got the shit kicked out of him for 5 minutes. And he wasn't beat up in the face, but he was getting pushed around, tossed around, slapped around a little bit just to come out in the second round and blast Benoit Saint-Denis to win that fight. That is what earned him this title shot. Because if you zoom out, well, he was knocked out cold before that with a head kick. Maybe he didn't deserve the title shot, but he earned this title shot from an entire career's worth of phenomenal performances. He has incredible hands. He's got nice leg kicks. He's got some of the cleanest, sharpest striking in the division, and he's insanely tough, and he's a fan favorite. Dustin Poirier is that guy, and I mentioned this in my quick picks video. If there is an MMA god, the way this fight would play out is Dustin Poirier would lose 4 3/4 rounds just to win by jumping guillotine at the end. That would be our, Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje moment here. But I don't see that happening. I think Dustin might have a little bit of success on the feet and potentially early. And all that is going to do is force Islam to wrestle. Especially Khabib is back in Islam's corner. Khabib hasn't cornered him or coached him for a while. He is back in his corner. Do you see the size of that fly?
Why do you think he showed up again? You think they're a little nervous?
I think it was a tax issue, frankly. Khabib owes $3 million in taxes. So I think a couple of appearances
showed up
while
because
he's out
these guys
here.
are getting a little bit nervous about Dustin, huh? They want the full camp there. They want the full team.
Well, and Islam has made some questionable decisions in some fights and stuff like that. He's not as dominant as Khabib, but I do think he's more talented. But Khabib in his corner means he's just going to wrestle more. And that's how you're going to beat Dustin. Just take him down, beat him the exact same way you beat Charles Oliveira. That's how I see it going. Don't stand around. Don't let Dustin just be tough and be a dog and strike with you. I think Islam wins. I think it's a very straightforward win. I love Dustin Poirier, but I think this is a very, very straightforward win for Islam. The minus 700 odds are wild. He was minus 500. He started at 600. He went down to minus 500. And now he's skyrocketing back up. Islam's going to be the pick, and I'll be rooting for Dustin, but not, the odds make sense to me.
Shine bright like a diamond. lock of the week video will be out hopefully tomorrow. But let's talk about this main event first. Listen, this is, to me, I understand I definitely get the love for Dustin, people that are putting sprinkle here, sprinkle there on Dustin. I mean, you see Dustin, a tough son of a bitch, at plus 400, plus 500. It's hard. It's hard not to bet that. And I will be rooting for Dustin. I'm not the biggest Dustin fan in the world, to be straight up and honest with you, but I'll be rooting for Dustin. I think most of the world is going to be rooting for the upset, for Dustin to win that fight. I actually like Islam a lot. I've talked about this time and time again. I bring it up every time that he fights. If you guys want to watch some really funny content, watch the early AKA vlogs with DC and Khabib, and Islam was there. And that was when Khabib barely knew any English, and Islam knew like no English, but Islam is like a funny fucking dude. And I bring that up, and I've mentioned this before. Islam is very much like Khabib, but he's a little bit more wild. And Angelo touched on it as well. He does take a little bit more chances in fights, and I guarantee there is nothing that Islam wants more. Just like he knocked out Volkanovski, if he could knock out Dustin Poirier, he would fucking love that. And as much as I want to root for Dustin, I am going to root for Dustin, it's going to be a little bit of a Hail Mary situation, right? Maybe the guillotine, or maybe he's able to find a shot. We've seen Islam get knocked out before, right? I mean, it's not
by nobody,
like
essentially.
It's not like it hasn't ever happened. Oh, my God. Luka just got an and-one foul. They were down 6, and now they can cut it to 2 with 13 seconds go. He hit a 3. I almost went crazy on that. But it's a little bit of a Hail Mary situation for Dustin, but I think Islam's going to give him an opportunity. I really believe that Islam is going to want to stand with this guy until he can't, until he feels a little bit too uncomfortable. Then he shoots that takedown. Islam's a little bit of a wild dude. He's a little bit more outgoing. He's a little bit more confident. He says that he wants to knock out Dustin Poirier. I think there's going to be more opportunities here for Dustin than people think, but it's Islam. I think even Volkanovski, when he hurt Islam, you saw him land a shot. He was still able to withstand that, get the takedowns, get the control, at least get on the hips and stuff like that. So, I'll be rooting for Dustin. It's probably a little bit of a Hail Mary, but, I got to go Islam here. Dustin's just way too easy to take down, and he's tough, and he's got some decent scrambles and stuff like that, but, Islam just got so much fucking control, and he's dynamic in the striking as well. He's proven that as well, so. Sure. I got to go Dustin, or a little Freudian slip there. Huh? I got to go Islam here. I'll be rooting for Dustin, but Islam's the play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty squarely on the Islam side. I have been for a few weeks. If you guys are subscribers and you've been here for a little while, then you saw I put out a full card breakdown 2 weeks ago. Every Sunday, there's always a breakdown from me, even if it's early, and I was very squarely on the Islam side there, and he was minus 500 then. This has obviously ballooned up. I do like Dustin. I'm not going to say he's overrated because people will come for my head, but I think people equate skills to toughness sometimes because he wasn't defending Benoit Saint-Denis' takedowns. Benoit Saint-Denis was pushing him around, doing whatever he wanted to, basically.
BSD had staff and gassed. He was on
exactly.
antibiotics. Yeah.
No, but that's my point. Like, in that first round, he did whatever he wanted to. And Benoit Saint-Denis isn't the wrestler that Islam is. So it's just an easy
what do you think
an
about
easy
those
comparison
new
to
gloves
make.
too?
This is the debut of them. Islam said he's worried about him, right? What is the deal with them? They're not like what did they change?
The way I've heard people explain them, fighters explain them, is that the previous gloves, which I've got them right behind me there, it was hard to make a fist. So a lot of times, and Dustin talked about this too, talk about the old gloves, is when you're constantly making a fist you're trying to punch people, you would get crazy forearm pumps because they were harder to fucking close. And these gloves are much easier to close and harder. You have to press to open it. So it's supposed to help with eye pokes a little bit. Islam said, he said something weird about him, but I think most of the fighters like it because fighters were talking about you literally get crazy forearm pumps because you had to force your fist closed. And they're a lot softer. And I guess they're actually I think Connor said that the 3-ounce gloves, that they are lighter, and they actually might even be a full ounce lighter.
Really?
But the gold, I think the gold could look corny.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see what it looks like because they do have the color coding for title fights, regular fights, and then even contender series.
More cuts. Yeah, he said they're stiffer, so they'll cut more. Is what Islam said, which I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I doubt it. I'll never forget Randy Couture lost his belt because the seam on the side of the glove
there's no
slit his
anymore.
eyeball. Yeah, and the seam slit his eyeball. It was disgusting.
Yeah, they
got
rid of the seams.
Jacob and I are squarely on the Islam side. Obviously, if you're on the Dustin side, bet the shit out of him. These odds are the odds
shorts?
are crazy. Yeah, he got the Hawaiian shorts.
Thank you, Amberly, for the reminder there.
Yeah, floral. Yeah, I said Hawaiian. They're not really Hawaiian.
They
But
look
that is
better
funny
than-
that's what he got.
They look better than Max's, I think.
I agree, but why he should have what's Louisiana like alligator
He
swamp?
lives
I
in
don't
South
know.
Florida, man.
I get it. I don't know. It seemed they're awesome shorts. They look sweet, but they don't. Yeah, those are sweet shorts. Like that's a sick bathing suit, honestly. But it's not. What about that says Dustin Poirier? Nothing.
He's the boss man.
Should be hot sauce. Honestly, I would have argued for hot sauce if I were him. Either way, I would have changed my nickname to Hot Sauce Boy. I would have selling the shit out of that hot sauce. It's actually, I didn't like it. He's got a bunch now, but the regular one was a little garlicky. Either way, $9,500. Islam Makhachev. He will be in my lineup. If you're on the Dustin Poirier side, $6,700 is a steal. Plus 500 is the opportunity of a lifetime. And this might tighten. It may have widened and then it'll come back and tighten up a little bit. But are you going to have Dustin in your lineup? I know you picked Islam, but do you think there's any value in such a tough guy in a 5-round fight at such a low price point?
Probably a Hail Mary. Looks like the Mavs lost.
Ooh, all right. Well, there goes that sweep. Well, if you do want to unlock all the picks, the bets, the round line leans, and more, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It's only $10 a month. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. And I want to thank you again by sending you $50. Just go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use the link. Sign up with any one of our partners, and we send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. Use the link. We get paid. I slice off the money. You get paid. You can then use that money to become a premium member, unlock things like the line movement tracker, the detailed data metrics and analytics, the DraftKings optimizer preloaded with the best ownership projections in the game, and far more than just me and Baby J. You're going to get Artem and the Pick Doctor or Pick GPT as well. Any last words for the people?
Eu tenho uma batata, eu cortou, excuse me, a batata. Você cozinhou a batata. Você frita a batata. Eu e você come